welcome to the Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, episode number 54. My name is Dave Z. How about you guys? What are your names?
I'm Frankie Z. I mean, no, I'm not Frankie Z. I'm not that popular. I'm not that popular. I'm 2 tiers below that.
That's why he's down here.
Anyway.
I'm Christian the Looch.
Yeah. And you're
Brandon the Mooch.
The Mooch. And I'm Dave the Hooch.
Hoochie, yeah.
Hoochie Mama. Yeah. So check it out. Tonight we're going back to the old school. We're going back to the early days of Exploding Heads, when we used to do an old movie and a new movie paired up the right way. And tonight it's paired up the right way because we're doing Tragedy Girls, and we're doing the ultimate tragedy girl, Carrie.
Wait, I got member berries for our own show. Remember when we did this?
Remember the Witch and Rosemary's Baby? 10 out of 10?
Us.
Yeah. Old school. Sometimes you got to throw out an old school show. Although, season 3, we're doing whatever we want to do, we've decided.
And this was a fluke. Tragedy Girls and the old school movie Carrie. I'm glad I thought of that, eh? This is just a perfect...
You thought of everything.
I thought it was you, Christian. I was giving you credit. Dave comes in. No, fuck you both. It was me. I'm the creator of this show. It was me who thought of everything. Yeah. You have an idea. It's mine.
Okay, fine. We'll break down the fourth wall. This is our second recording. We went 22 minutes. 22, how about that? Yeah. And it was not recording. And on that whole thing...
Christian.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Brandon, for busting... Okay, I'm shaming him, yes, but I'm shaming you too. I'm shaming the both of you. So how's that? Brandon's busting my balls, giving me things, saying that giving Christian credit for things that I did, and then had the nerve to ask me something. Then I answered it, and a minute later he acted as if he didn't hear a word I said. I thought I was talking to my daughter.
Yeah, he shamed me with a Donna Nelly comment.
I wish we had the audio for it.
Oh man,
I do.
There was a good Gobble joke in there.
Yes, at least you're saying it right. At least you're saying it right now.
A Capicola.
Capicola.
I want the Coca-Cola and the Capicola.
I want a Capicola and a Capicola.
There you go.
The joke's no better this time.
It's worse this time because it's forced.
Right, it was great before. I mean, we had a whole horror mafia thing at the beginning. We were giving props to those paisans, and then they started talking about gabagool. Making food. I said I fast forwarded through it.
Yeah, we were talking about starting an Exploding Heads recipe book. That's our next project.
An ebook, $24.99.
How about that?
Christian's recipe: scrambled eggs.
Mine's toast. Herbs? No, not herbs. I was trying to think of a word with H, something for Headites, that would apply to food. I know it's pronounced herbs, so it doesn't work. Or can you say herbs?
You can say herbs.
We're going to make a big Headite salad, so you're going to need 2 Headites of lettuce.
Oh, my God. Hey. There you go. That was good.
There it is.
Headites of lettuce. That's a good... Okay, you redeemed yourself. Okay.
I redeemed myself.
Oh, man, this is horrible.
It's an Asian episode. Let's make this some young guy.
Did you say horrible?
Yeah.
It was so big you forgot the H?
Well, just like herbs.
Or so bad you forgot the H. Sorry, yes. See, there's a joke I used to always say when people said, "Did you ever hear people?" They go, "Oh man, it was huge."
Huge.
And I go,
"Huge."
Yeah. So that's what I said. It was so big you forgot the H. That's what I always say.
Typically, it's a woman saying that to me. It's just crazy.
It was huge.
Yeah. She forgets the H because it's actually just a UGE written on it, and that barely fits.
Yeah. How is there room for 4 letters on your joint? Right.
Which movie? Come on, Brandon. Which movie?
Quick. There's 4 letters in my name, Brandon.
What?
You don't even know this fucking guy.
What? I wasn't...
Bring out Frankie Z. Frankie.
Don't you come in here. Tell her to be careful. Okay.
There's 4 letters in my name, Rod. How is there room on your joint for 4 letters?
You even gave him Rod. I mean, come on.
Rod?
You shamed me.
Oh.
Okay, forget you.
Up yours with the twirling lawnmower.
Very good, very good.
He still doesn't know.
He says the sweetest things.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. Like, I'm seriously lost right now. I'm thinking...
One last crew.
Keep him in the dark. Crew? Skeleton crew? No, no more.
One last Kruger.
Fuck skeleton crew.
One last Kruger. Right. If you don't get it by now, I don't know what to tell you. Forget it.
Look at this guy. I think
The
there's
moment's
video.
gone.
There's video here for this one too.
Nightmare.
It's a nightmare. Yes.
It's nightmare, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I could not picture. Nothing you said was going in and processing.
Hey now, that's what she said.
You got a shoehorn here, honey?
Spot on. Okay.
God.
So yeah. Oh, Christian, I wanted to give you props really quick, as long as we're talking about people that can't talk
Okay,
and things.
well, yeah, I'm ready.
Props. Last episode, I just listened. You said somebody was literally doing something, and then you corrected yourself right after, and you said, "Well, not literally."
Yeah.
Do you remember what it was?
I said
the
shit
commentary?
literally hit the fan. Well,
Yes.
Actually, shit didn't literally hit the fan. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have to applaud you, because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the word literally has taken on the meaning of figuratively lately. People are saying it all the time, using it in the wrong vernacular. People always say, "Oh, I was literally pissing my pants." No, asshole, you were figuratively pissing your pants. Literal means you were really doing it. I don't know what's going on in the grammar of the United States. How come everybody's saying literally when it means figuratively? It drives me bananas when I listen to podcasts. It really
Jamie
does.
and Brian are going to be real happy to hear you doing this bit.
Yeah.
Why do they do that?
Oh, yeah, they're grammar police.
Oh, I know that. I thought you were saying that they do it.
No.
Jamie-
Oh, no.
They,
I don't think
they would never
do
make that mistake.
Did you listen to the last show? The P show, by the way?
Not yet.
I was literally peeing while listening to the pre-show.
On my phone.
Well, Brandon, your name comes up on it. That's why.
Oh, now I have to go and listen to it. What's the name of that show again?
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
That's what it was all about. You talking shit.
It's the good podcast about hidden gems.
Yes, it is.
You
It is the
fucking
podcast.
skunk. Yeah, they do Pin for the 87th time. Pin is not a hidden gem anymore. Pin's a fucking overrated piece of...
What?
No, I'm kidding. I love Pin. I'm just kidding. I love Pin. I feel like Pin's the film that's talked about as like the most underrated. So it's like at some point it transitions now. It's like, oh, it's not underrated anymore because people are talking about it.
Only people that talk about it are 22 Shots fanboys. That's it. Nobody else knows anything
Fuck
about
those
that
22
shit.
Shots fanboys. We created them.
We're the ones who.
You were one
made-
of them.
Yeah, you were one of them. You were at the top of the list. That's why.
I'm still a fanboy.
I barely recognize you without Mood's balls in your face.
Hey, I'm not Derek. Let's relax. Moods and Derek are so close, I can't tell where Derek ends and Moods begins. Oh, he's going to be so pissed when he hears that.
We love them both. We love them. We love Cinema
do.
Blend. Love 22 Shots.
He's definitely going to be pissed at that.
He knows I do it on purpose at this point. We
Yeah.
gave him nothing but props last show, Cinema Attack. We love them all. We love them. We love Horror Mafia with their recipes.
I don't want grammar police listening to this show. I barely am articulate at all. I edit it, and I try to piece together what I'm trying to say, and I'm like, whoa, I'll just take this right out. So when
Goes
you
back
hear
and
it, and I don't make
records
sense, that's as sensical as I usually am.
Go back and re-record stuff and like just
Yeah.
put it in.
That's when it just switches like, yeah, I concur.
Nice. And once again, we're still off the rails. Although it's not 22 minutes of off the rails.
No, let's talk
It's a
about
crazy
like,
train.
let's talk about the pairing up of these films because David,
Fuck 'em.
it was your pick, and honestly, not only did they pair perfectly together, but tell them why you picked Carrie.
Oh,
for the-
yes.
for the
3
trifecta.
reasons. That's how this whole thing got started. Okay, reason number 1. Tonight's show, of course,
Yeah.
obviously. Reason number 2, the 76 show, 1976, the big show that we're doing with 22 Shots in the near future. So 2 birds, 1 stone. Now there's a third bird. Go ahead. What?
No, I was gonna say, with the 76 show, I was hesitant. At first, I was like, should we? We even talked about this. We're like, should
It's
we do
obvious.
it? But it's
Obvious.
obvious when you look at that year.
Yes.
There's two films that stand out that most people genuinely love, and that's The Omen and Carrie. That most people
Obviously.
rate super high. So I don't think people are gonna be shocked if we come in high. I think they'd be more shocked if we don't come in high with our ratings. So
Unless you're one of the Woodsboro brothers. Andrew
prefer the-
specifically.
Oh.
Because
prefer
Austin wants to
2013?
bitch slap him. Yeah.
the 2013 version has more fleshed out characters, according to him. I think
Well,
it just means more flesh.
Exactly. A little bit of Chloe, right? But he did. I'll give him props, Andrew, because he did come around and say. I said, so you really are telling me you think that the 2013 Carrie has better score, script, cinematography, lighting, sound design, etc. And he says, well, no, not necessarily. I do think that this one is a better made film. I just happen to love this. So he did come correct.
You came correct, Andrew Schreier.
Damn straight. So
on face.
So I'll give him props. He just loves the one more and says it's better. And that's fine. So be it. Back to opinions. Who cares? You know? God bless him.
The only one I really feel bad for is Austin, because he's always having to be like, I'm Austin. I'm not the crazy one who likes all these shitty films.
Yeah. Woodsboro Brothers. Listen to them too. See? We're in the first 10 minutes, we've just talked about every show on the network.
Yeah. Except for Bloody Bits.
Fuck Bloody Bits. No, listen to Bloody Bits.
And
Of
Watson
course.
came out with a Christmas show.
He's gay?
Yeah. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why the delay.
Watson came out.
That was it. That was the whole reason for the delay for episode 11. Which he's releasing after 12. I love his math. I love how he does stuff. But so I listened to the Christmas episode, and I always post, and I don't know why I didn't post, because he's the only one that actually looked and watched and reviewed Day of the Beast, the one that I keep telling you guys about. But he only came in at a 7 out of 10, and I'm like, man, oh man, that was like a 9 for sure. However, then I realized I haven't watched it in probably a good 5 years, and so I probably should watch it again. But Dave, you said it last time, and I love it. You're only as good, or the movie's only as good as the last time you watched it. And at that point, it was a 9 out of 10 for sure. I love that flick.
Yeah, but look at how high we put Watson on a pedestal. How much we actually value this man's opinion. That the minute he says a grade of a movie is 2 points lower than what you think, you automatically assume it's your fault because you haven't seen it in a while.
Fuck him. I know. That pisses me off.
Like, Watson, why didn't you love the movie that
because I respect his opinion too, though.
Yeah, no, he articulates very well.
Yeah, okay, Dave. Dave's bringing it back down to street level.
I'm bringing it. Yes, I am. I'm coming correct again. Check it out. Watson gives. What's the movie that you guys ranked even lower than me? Didn't he give it like a 10 out of 10?
Behind the Mask. It's
Yes.
one of his favorites. Yeah, fuck him.
I actually came up on Leslie Vernon.
Fuck him.
I'm not even listening to episode 11.
And Christian went down on Leslie Vernon.
Well
and
played.
Watson went down on him. You know, that's for sure. That and The Strangers, which I'm gonna have to watch again, based on Watson. But whatever, we'll get there. Where were we? Number 3. I gotta talk about my third bird. Yeah, everybody's heard about the third bird. No, anyway,
That's the dirty one.
The third bird is this. I have decided to watch every Stephen King horror movie and miniseries in order, chronologically.
Ooh.
It just happens to begin with Carrie. So I said, you know what? Why not? Why not do this? So I made a list of all of them, chronologically, everything. Fucking miniseries and movies. Horror only. I'm not going non-horror.
Yeah.
Right? But I made a list of when they came out, everything. I mean, I went on the B, I looked at the month, everything. I was supposed to do it with my wife. Because of an emergency with our dog, she was unable to watch Carrie with me last night, which sucks. But I'll watch it again with her, that's fine. But I plan to do it with her the whole time. But I said I'm going to watch them all. And there's no timetable. I'm not saying it's going to be in a year. Because there's 53. I came up with 50.
You know what? I believe I found a list online that was already done, and I was going to tell you that
you can't though.
Was in the 50s.
Was it just horror? You found one just for horror?
No, it had other stuff, but it had but it wasn't much horror because it was just like the original stuff. Because I'm not counting like obviously like you're not counting like Children of the Corn sequels.
No, I'm not either. No, but the thing is, they also number one, they do that on every site I saw. Number two, they separate the miniseries from the movies, so you have to do it on your own. So I have the Master One in my notes in my phone. So if anybody needs them, I have.
You're gonna watch the Langoliers?
Yes.
Sorry, the Langoliers wasn't that bad.
I'm watching them all in order, and I'm gonna say how he progressed. You know what I mean? How the stories progressed in the adaptions, and just make observations about it. I think it'll be fun.
And I respect that. I respect that. I'll take the list too. Sorry for cutting out. But the Langoliers had time fucking chomping Pac-Mans.
I know
it was fucking horrible. It wasn't that bad.
The ending is worth it though. The end is so ridiculously bad, it's hysterical. I like that. And the story itself is not that bad. The adaptation is very close to the book. It's not that bad of a movie. It just gets ridiculous with CG in the third act, So
that's hats off to you, man.
it's not going to be a timetable. It could take 2 years. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm not putting pressure on myself like that. Last year was the year of pressure. I'm not doing it again. Sorry. But B, you said you're going to do it?
Yeah, I'm going to do it also because we were talking about eventually covering more King stuff, and I realized.
Oh, we are. Yeah.
Realized not only, I mean, I've seen a lot, but I've seen a lot only once, and then there's a bunch of big films that I haven't seen. Like I've never seen Salem's Lot. I've never seen Needful Things. I've never seen Storm of the Century. I don't remember if I've seen Dolores Claiborne. So there's a lot, and I've never read the novels either. So I mean, I could maybe get some reading into if someone would teach me how.
Good luck.
And this year I'm taking such a more laid back approach because I'm besides like the 76 prep, which I've already started, but it's not crazy because I'm enjoying it because it's a year that besides the top few films I haven't really seen anything, so I'm kind of enjoying checking out these new films even if they're bad. I'm not forcing myself to watch anything I don't want to. I'm watching old horror, but I'm keeping track of everything, and it's been a solid start to the year for me.
Nice, dude. And I have not watched a single 2018 movie except the ones we're discussing tonight. Obviously, we're gonna do a triple R's tonight as well. A couple. One of them's gonna be Victor Crowley. So I saw Victor Crowley and I saw Tragedy.
Crowley.
Yes. So that's it though. Now that February is officially here, I'm gonna be doing a King a week, a 2018 movie a week. So I'm gonna keep it mellow. A 76. You know what I mean? I can't do it anymore. And I have big changes coming up. I should be in my house next month, a little later, and it's just life is different for me this year, so I don't have time to watch all that shit. So do the best I can,
Absolutely.
We hear you, man.
Yeah. So anyway,
Langoliers and all. Sleepwalkers, you're counting Sleepwalkers on that one too?
Yeah, of course. Why not?
Great soundtrack.
You're right.
It does. I had it on my top 20. You guys made fun of me.
I didn't make fun of you.
No, you didn't make
because
fun
of that
me.
or the hairdo? I always get it mixed up.
I can't. I look ridiculous. I'm glad we're not like video.
No, I am recording this on video.
Oh, you are?
Oh, yeah. It's a test for those. So you know, I'm just doing a little test here, and Patreons will see it. We're gonna stop recording
Lloyd
soon.
Christmas.
Yeah, you sure. Well, Patreons, you be the judge.
Harry, your hands are freezing.
Oh shit!
All I'm doing is I'm going to watch some 76 flicks, and when that's done, it's all 2018. But you know what I did say to myself? You know what? No, I'll take that back. I started making a list of the movies that I used to watch religiously. Like, I'm talking like almost monthly, bi-monthly, whatever it may be. The reality is those are taking a hit. I haven't watched those as much, except for the Friday the 13th series, because of the Year of the Slasher, because of all the 2017 flicks. So I wrote down, I want to revisit The Thing again. I want to revisit, like, I just did Suspiria, but I said all the early Argentos.
Mm-hmm.
One or two I hadn't seen. One I hadn't seen, for sure.
Did you get the blue? Excuse me. Did you get the blue? Is that why you watched Suspiria?
No. I have my old Anchor Bay DVD.
Okay,
I gotta get that Steelbook. I gotta call Synapse and get that Steelbook because they're low on quantity.
I got that shit, and it's gonna be the first movie I watch in my new house.
Yeah, man, that looked good. Now there's 3 of them out now. 3 versions of it in blue or 2.
It is a bunch. They're coming out with a standard Synapse edition, and there was another company that released like a Steelbook also. But Synapse is the way to go.
I saw the side by sides, and the Synapse one. I think
Synapse. They've been working on this for like 5 years. They announced this like when I was 3.
Honestly, if they're working with a cinematographer, that's the way to go, because that would have been ultimately the vision. Who cares what the actual distributor, Synapse or whatever, thinks it should look like? They should be working with the cinematographer or Argento or a collaboration of some sort, for sure. Return of the Living Dead, one of my all-time favorites. I haven't watched it in a long time, man.
You gotta watch them, man.
Yeah.
You gotta watch them.
So I just started putting down a list of like all my old favorites, the ones that would probably round up my top 20. And just rewatch them again, and that's for me. Damn it!
Oh, that's good. That's good. I've actually started going through my collection and watching the films that were blind buys because I do a lot of blind buys.
Yeah, I know you do.
I used to, but I stopped because now I went digital, so my whole collection's pretty much digital, with the exception of DVDs and the slight Blu-ray, like 10 Blu-rays I have.
Besides horror, I'm digital now. I actually sold all my non-horror stuff. I sold about 500 movies a few weeks ago.
Nice. Did you burn them? Did you burn them so you can
No.
get the copy? Oh,
Nope.
see, that's what I did. I got when I started going to Blue, I started taking my DVDs and burning them, and then selling the other ones on eBay and Amazon.
Yeah, I downsized, and I don't even collect as much as I used to, but I'll still collect horror, and I'll still blind buy from certain companies some of these obscure flicks they put out. I like to support the companies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We all should, especially if it's horror, right?
Total random fucking thought. It just popped in my head. I don't know why. What happened to that Maniac Cop remake? I thought that was coming out last year.
I heard Refn was involved, and then it came and went. I don't know.
I thought they had actually started, and now
Nah.
I'm gonna have to look into that again because I
No,
thought
that
there was
wasn't
actually
going.
a little bit more movement on that.
I don't think so. I just think it
Basket
was talk.
Case. That's what it was. Sorry, I listened to Who Will Survive, another great podcast. Another great podcast.
Yeah.
Blah! And then they did Island of
oh.
the. They did Island. It's Alive. Sorry, not Island of the Alive, but It's Alive 1 and 2. And I'm like, oh my god! It was like because he said it was like an Island of Belial's or something like that. I'm like, oh my god!
See, well,
Right,
he
that's
heard
right.
it from us.
Yeah.
And they just announced a box set of It's Alive coming
Yeah.
out. All 3 are coming out from Scream Factory.
So yeah, I wanted to revisit those and the first Basket Case again and Brain Damage. Like these are films that I always used to hold in such high regard, and I just haven't watched them in a long time.
You got to do it. See, like what I'm doing, and I mentioned it on the show before, but I'm trying to watch movies that I haven't seen that I should. And of course, when we get to my triple R's again, that's all I've been doing all of January. I'm going to continue doing that, not as hard, but I am going to continue watching, hopefully a couple a month. Just movies that I know I should see, that everyone says, hey, the horror fans should see this. And if the title turned me off or the box art or whatever, I never watched it. So, I'm going to do that because why not be a completist? And next show we're going to be doing Hammer stuff, which is going to be my birth into Hammer movies. So we'll see where that goes.
That is cool, man. I can't wait. I love Hammer films, but there's a lot that I realize I haven't seen of those either.
I have seen none. I don't think, honestly.
Really? Not even like the horror of Dracula, the Christopher Lee Draculas?
Nope.
Me either.
Oh,
And
wow.
I actually own the 3 films we're doing. Again, I was doing a ton of blind buys in the past, and I own the 3 Hammer horror films, and I've actually picked up a bunch of double features that Hammer's put out. So I'm actually really looking forward to next show, to getting into those, because it's my afterbirth. It's Dave's birth. It's my afterbirth.
Oh, okay.
At least
And
three
you're
of the
placenta?
Draculas.
Christian's the placenta.
I'm the placenta?
Yeah.
we're
I hope
gonna
no one
eat
eats
you.
it. Yeah.
We're gonna eat you at the end of the show.
Great. A little Himalaya sea salt or whatever. On top.
Oh.
Well, that's my recipe for tonight.
Yeah, that's it.
Sauteed.
Headites of lettuce,
I
chapter
said
1.
polenta.
What did you say, Blenda?
Polenta.
Polenta.
Not placenta, which is what I meant. Polenta.
Placenta polenta.
Blenda.
Tomato,
I thought
tomato.
It sounds like a fake freaking flavoring. Like Splenda?
Yeah.
Oh, we have some Plenta here.
Yeah.
It's fucking salt for placentas.
No, it's almost like cornbread or something. Not cornbread.
It's cornmeal. It's ground cornmeal.
That's what he even knew.
All right.
I'm a cook.
So yeah, no. Back to Hammer. Vincent Price movies. Saw
Hammer
like
time.
a handful of them, of course, and then the Christopher Lee Dracula's probably 3, and then at Fearless Vampire Killers or whatever.
Yeah.
I believe that's a Hammer one as well. I think that might round it out. Might be a couple here or there that I'm forgetting, but there's a lot to see. I just can't believe you guys haven't seen maybe one of them.
Not a single one. I actually looked up the list, like the complete Hammer horror collection.
There's a great documentary, The House of Hammer. I think it might be on Prime. Now, I don't know if you want it again, because it would be like a major teaser.
Yeah, it's a
Which
spoiler.
if you don't want to watch, because Mr. Dave doesn't watch any trailers here.
I watched a documentary on it recently called "You Can't Touch This," but I don't think that was the right one.
Hammer time.
It was the wrong Hammer horror, but it was quite scary.
That Entourage? Yeah, I know. Oof. No, but listen, growing up, I had no interest in Hammer. None of it was in my wheelhouse. Number one, I didn't care about British stuff. Just in period pieces. No, it's true. As a kid, I'm watching slashers. I'm watching. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to see British shit, and I don't want to see.
You Americans
slow
hate
moving.
British shit. You guys really hate the British accent.
No. I'm talking about when I was a kid. I'm not
I
saying
know.
that.
What you're saying. My tastes have changed completely. I didn't want to watch any sort of like gothic or stagey
No.
theatrical type films. I didn't want to watch a
Oh,
Vincent
I love
Price
that
film when I
shit.
was a
I
kid.
love that stuff.
Now I'm starting to love
Old
that. I want
castles and
to.
shit.
It's
But-
changed. Back then, no. And you know what? I don't want. At that age, I didn't give a shit about Dracula and House of and those movies. I wasn't even. I wouldn't watch the original, the black and white ones. I don't care. It's just not my shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't want to see Dracula. I was watching Jason and anything satanic I'd watch or supernatural and slashers. That was really it. And the crazy weird 80s stuff. But I didn't care about Dracula and Universal horror. And I'm still not really into it that much. But
Wow,
it's just,
man. No, I love
I'm
it,
not
but
against it.
I did grow up in it. Like I did grow up with it, and I loved like the Abbott Costello Meet Frankenstein.
I do too. Now I do.
And yeah, I know, but my dad did get me into those ones, and maybe I never found them overtly scary. I told you The Innocents was the one that scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. But the Universal ones not so much. But no, man, I respect them, and I think really they paved the way for what we eventually got.
They did. That's a fact. I just,
What do you fucking
I'm not going to go listen to Beethoven because I happen to listen to freaking Fish now. You know what I mean? It's just, I respect it. I understand this is
But he paved the way for what you eventually got.
I know, but
I'm joking.
Fish
that's
is
my
very
point.
inspired by Beethoven.
Yeah.
well, honestly, they are because some of their songs are actually composed like freaking classical compositions, smartass. As a matter of
Oh,
fact.
I thought we were talking about the Saint Bernard.
All right. Anyway, fuck. But I'll say one more thing about all this.
Holy
I'm
shit.
so glad. I am so glad that Dark Universe thing flopped. So I was like, I don't want to see this shit. I don't, because because number one, I'm not a big fan of the Universal monsters. Then when I heard it was going to be like big budget, I'm like, well, it's going to be action shit.
Yeah,
Sure
that's
enough,
what it
that
was.
mummy.
It was
I'm
action,
so
yeah.
fucking happy that it flopped as bad as it did. And fuck,
Well, yeah,
whatever.
I
sound
hear
like
you,
an
but that has
asshole. I'm sorry.
you
I
do,
just-
Yeah, but that's okay.
I know. I don't listen. I know, and I don't mean to. And I am okay with those films. They're just not. They don't excite me. That's all.
And that's fine. That is fine. I'm just saying the Dark Universe is quite different from the originals. And I understand the originals
Obviously.
are quote unquote black, or not, they're not quote unquote, they are black and white, but some people say they're boring.
They're literally black and white.
Wait, I knew
This
it.
time, they're literally fucking black and white. Motherfuckers. I love that. On that note, I'd like to say goodbye to all of our Patreon people for the live video feed. Bye.
Oh, bye guys.
Bye
We
to,
love you.
bye to all our listeners as well.
Yeah.
Goodbye, our listeners.
Yeah,
as
I
well.
quit. See you in hell.
Imagine that. Christian's leaving the show. That's how we announce it. That's it. Goodbye.
I wouldn't even be mad if that's how he announced it, because it'd be so fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it really would, because we'd have to release it. It'd be great. Okay, promise me, guys, if we ever wrap up the show, that's how we're going to do it. We're not even going to discuss it prior. We're going to do it right on the show. I just want to say goodbye.
Oh, man.
That's
Okay.
fucking brutal.
Woof. Okay. Should we take a break, come back and do our first review?
A sabbatical.
Okay.
We'll see you next year.
See you in a second on the flips.
I'm Cootie.
My name is X.
And I'm Chef Al, and we're your hosts on the Kiss the Goat podcast.
On our show, we're going to break down some of your favorite devil movies from the past 50 years,
We also drink and talk about religion.
which is a terrible idea.
That is a great idea.
And I'm going to give you some great recipe ideas to go along with the movies that we've been watching.
We also answer questions from our listeners on every single episode.
And I also frankly discuss my sex life at really inappropriate times.
She does.
I do, it's the thing.
I tell terrible jokes, sing when I'm drunk.
And I haven't been paid yet. They said they would pay me, and they,
Kiss the Goat, exclusively on the Legion Network of podcasts.
seriously, can I get some money?
Just do the job, Al.
All right, so our first review of the evening, Tragedy Girls from 2017, directed by Tyler McIntyre, a twist on the slasher genre following two death-obsessed teenage girls who use their online show about real-life tragedies to send their small, Midwestern town into a frenzy and cement their legacy as modern horror legends. This was one of my most anticipated from our year-end show.
Yeah,
I
we also.
was really looking forward to this one because they were comparing it to like, the same vein of like Final Girls and stuff like that.
Yeah, but this one was rated R, I believe. Correct?
Yeah, this one was rated R.
Oh,
This
yeah.
one was much darker.
Oh yeah, and better kills, obviously.
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, they're two completely different movies.
Oh, completely different. In fact,
Yeah.
I mean, I was surprised at how much this one lined up feeling more like Carrie than it did, a Final Girls. It didn't really feel so comedic.
It felt like Carrie. It felt like Scream. It felt like Ginger Snaps a little bit. Yeah, but it's its own thing and quite interesting. I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, it's. I wish I could have watched it a second time, but
Yeah, I only had time to watch it once, but I agree. It was quite enjoyable. It lived up to pretty much everything that I was hoping it was going to be.
And for me, I only got to watch it once, and for me, it was a huge disappointment. Big letdown for me. I'm not saying I still enjoyed it, but I was expecting something different. I loved some aspects of it. Dave said it right out of the gate. The kills were the best part of this film. And I wish this film had stuck more to maybe just a traditional slasher film rather than trying to be so satirical with, making fun of people's obsession with social media and stuff like that. Because it felt like they were trying to be smart and say something, but it didn't feel like any of the characters were interesting enough to really care. Our two main girls were really good. But besides that, everybody else just was like kind of annoying.
I could see that. And I think maybe I did take a little bit off for that. But ultimately, it's still a well above average flick. And on top of it all,
without a doubt.
On top of it all, people that complained and maybe thought, oh, here we go again. It's going to be another one of those PG-13-esque, like Happy Death Day, whatever it may be. The Final Girls, which, again, had nothing wrong with either of those two movies. Enjoy them both. This film, the kills are shockingly gory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it even becomes part of the script and how it plays out itself because people think they're all accidents. Horrible accidents.
Right.
So they actually have to up the ante to make them even more grisly. So there's no fucking way this could be an accident now.
Yeah, and that comedy worked, and I wish I had kept it that way rather than getting into too much with trying to point out the negative effects of social media though, because I felt like they did this. I mean, this film's about Sadie and Michaela. They're best friends, and they have a YouTube true crime blog, and it opens up. And they actually catch a serial killer. And their plan is to use his identity to do more killings to grow their viewership. They want more followers on Twitter. They want more downloads on YouTube. They want more hits on Instagram, whatever. They just want to be popular. So it sets it up like, okay, this is going to be a good commentary on that. But then it establishes at some point in the film that these girls are kind of psychotic from long ago, long before social commentary. So I wish they had just got rid of that whole aspect and just had two psycho girls who just grew up and decided to kill.
I think that was their outlet, though. I think that was their outlet. And
yes, it was.
I hear you. I hear
it's like Scream 4.
Yeah.
Okay? Think about the Scream 4 thing. Her motivations.
It's almost identical to Scream 4, yet Scream 4 for some reason didn't bother me as much. I don't know why. There were more interesting characters in Scream 4.
You know why? Because Scream 4 didn't really introduce that angle until the third act when we found out what she was thinking and why. This one, from jump, we knew what was going on. And when you say that they captured a serial killer, they did it for themselves. Nobody knows that they captured the serial killer.
Oh, yeah. No, they keep them tied up.
And here's a question. Okay, remember I said I have a couple things I want to ask you guys that are going to affect my rating. Here's what I noticed. There was a time when they looked at their phone and they were viewing the serial killer, which they have captured. Okay? They have a link, they have a feed to him, whatever, because he's in, I don't even know where he is. He's in one of the basements.
Tied up in some remote location.
And it's not important. See, and I don't need to know. That's fine. But they were looking at him, right? Keeping dibs on him, making sure that he was still there. But I noticed at one point they looked at him on their phone, and you got a couple thumbs up and hearts as if it was a Facebook Live video. What? I don't understand that.
I don't understand it either.
I totally missed that.
Yeah, it happened a couple of times.
Oh, no, that was like the filter with the hearts going up.
Yeah.
I think that was like one of those like background filters where you can kind of like
I thought it was multiple people liking it.
See, I thought it was one of those like screen filters like that you can put on there. Like make it rain or make it rain hearts. Or...
I'll make it rain in here.
I'll make it rain.
Dave,
I
you're
don't know,
right,
dude.
and I
Yeah.
remember it happening. Maybe it's at the exact same time, or it happened one other time, and I'm like, oh, who's liking this? Who's
Right, it
liking
doesn't
this
make
feed
sense.
I'm telling you, I
whatever?
think it's just a filter.
Okay.
I really,
But I'm not
didn't
an
question
Instagram
that.
fanatic or any of that.
I don't know.
stuff,
I
so
don't know
know.
anything about them either. But when that happened, I'm like, oh look, they put like that's like cute. The girls are still girly. They have these hearts floating as like part of their screen while they're.
So did you guys
Well,
know
they're
the plot of
looking
this
through.
going in? I didn't know the plot of this. In
No,
fact,
you know me. I don't know shit. don't
I
wanna
thought
know.
it was Tragedy Girls. They couldn't use Final Girls, and so I thought they were Final Girls that hunted down serial killers. So put themselves into these predicaments to lure the serial killers in, and then kill them or capture them or do whatever. So this movie took a total swerve right after the opening. Really.
Yeah, right out of the gate because they really have no MO. They'll kill anyone.
Yeah, they're psychos.
Yeah,
And-
I knew that these were bad girls. Ooh, you're a bad girl.
And I do love them, baby. And boy, these girls,
both
especially
these
MJ.
girls. Yeah, I figured you know what? I don't know what it was, but Sadie, she just pulled off that pixie cut. She said she could pull off a pixie cut, and she really did.
She definitely did, and she was pretty cute and she was attractive. But MK for me was like, wow. But you know me.
Yeah, no, I knew that they were bad and that they were killing people. I knew that was the setup of the film. I didn't realize how like dark and serious it was gonna get. That's why I felt like the comedy mixed with the commentary and the seriousness of some of the scenes kind of not took me out of it, just threw me off a little.
See, I think it worked well. I think the comedy, as I've noticed in the many movies lately, that it's more comical the first half than it is the second. And for these characters, like, yes, it was over the top with the Twitter feed and everything else and how they don't give a shit, and because we know what their motivations are. They're just trying to be famous, and they don't care who they kill, even boys that they love or have loved, and they stick to it. I mean, they don't fuck around.
You have to give 30 hand jobs to lure out the the serial killer. Because they're parked on that creepy bridge, on Sweetheart Bridge. It's like it's so funny. It's such a funny parody of every horror movie opening, and with them making out in the car, and you don't realize like she's literally doing it to entice the serial killer to come out. What's that?
I gotta tell you,
check it out.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, at first I was pissed off. First of all, question: when the movie first begins, it says something about 1996. Did you guys see that?
Yeah,
there was like a sign. Yeah, what was that?
That was the Sweetheart Bridge. That must have been when they built it. It said Sweetheart Bridge 1996.
Oh, is that okay? Because when I first saw it, I thought this movie was supposed to be taking place in '96. Then when I saw what happened right after, I'm like, wait, what? Okay, all right. So it just was something that was constructed.
Yeah, just like a year. Maybe they put that sign up, or maybe they finished the bridge in '96.
Okay, now that's fine. But now let's scroll right off the bat. I got to tell you, I was like, fuck her. No, I was like, fuck her. No, because the way she was talking to the guy, say, don't be a fucking pussy, go outside. I didn't like that because right off the bat, I'm turned off to the person that I know may have to be rooting for. Because I actually, as soon as I see what transpires after, I know that this is one of the tragedy girls. So I'm like, okay, this is who I'm supposed to identify with. And she's coming off like a real bitch. You didn't have to do that. If it was my film, I would have been like, I would have played it a different way. Like, oh, honey, I'm scared. Could you go look outside? I guess maybe by now, because it's her 30th hand job, she's tired of it. So maybe in retrospect, she doesn't have patience anymore. She's like, yeah, fuck this kid.
I've got blisters on me fingers.
Nice. But at first, that's how I felt. I was like, eh. But I'm going to say one thing to this movie's credit. The way these girls are portrayed, there's no reason I should like them. And for a long time, I do not. But by the time we get to the third act, I end up pulling for both of them in two separate situations. And I think they worked that well.
You know what? There was, to a certain point, I was actually rooting for them as well. And then there's just one scene towards the end that like pushed it over the top. I'm like, whoa, that actually fucking bothers me a little. And I'm like, I was quite disturbed by it.
The shop scene?
It went next level.
What do you say, the shop?
The shop kill scene?
No. The shop kill thing was great.
Yeah.
Gymnasium.
Oh, the whole ending.
Yeah, that's why I'm being cryptic.
Okay, yeah, well, no, but there's our tie-in with Carrie as well. For if you want some tie-in again, like we have prom, and
it seemed almost like it. Yeah, you have the prom and you have that big scene, but it seems almost counterproductive to what their goal was. I'm not trying. I really don't want to overanalyze this
No.
film, but it seems counterproductive. I can't say it because I don't want to spoil.
Well, no. I could say without spoiling. How is it counterproductive? Because this isn't going to be spoiling. They want the biggest tragedy possible. The bigger the tragedy, the more the fame. So, of course, they want to see that shit go down. And if they end up doing something where they happen to survive some amazing catastrophe, then they're even more in the public eye. I think that fits in completely with their MO.
Yeah, I mean, but they don't know it's going to play out like that.
No, but they don't care. They're doing everything they can. And remember, when prom night comes, they're separated.
Yeah, but at this point, it seems to me like they had this plan all along, and like why do I keep saying like? The goal was to increase their social media presence, and I felt like they would have wanted people in their town to be following them. I mean, they were promoting throughout their town, so to take it the next big, huge step and have it work out and tie up in that nicely neat little bow the way it did at the end felt like a stretch and felt like almost kind of silly. Like, it really, there's no way you'd get away with this, or this would really happen.
Oh, that I'll give you. That is my one knock. You kind of have to look the other way with plausibility. Why would the cops not figure a few of these things out? But I'm not going to be that viewer that this day and age wants to think high and mighty. This is the slasher. I wasn't picking apart Friday the 13th. I'm not going to pick apart Tragedy Girls. They did what I liked.
Because I read that it was a satire, so I'm immediately looking at it from the social commentary standpoint.
And the social commentary is what makes it a modern slasher. You know what I mean? Because that's something that they wouldn't have had before. But make no mistake, to me, it's still a slasher. I mean, these are slasher kills.
The kills are straight up slasher.
You know what I mean? I mean, I can't pick apart this kind of film. It's just, some people may on other podcasts. I don't know. To me, it's like I said, I came up on Friday the 13th. I didn't pick that apart. I'll pick apart a serious movie that comes off as a serious film. And, you know, everything about it is serious. And like, okay, wait a minute. No. I mean, would you really pick apart Deathgasm? It's the same type of thing.
And this movie, the way it's presented to you, I think it gives you everything you need from that setup and from how the movie progresses, that it's forgiving. And it doesn't, you said, ties it up in a neat little bow, kind of in that story, but really, they're still bad girls. They could have gone a whole Hollywood ending, and they really didn't. They really didn't.
Actually, they did. I feel they did. They're like, oh, they got the book tour, they got the the movie.
But they're bad people. We're not supposed to be rooting for them. We're seeing what their intentions are from the beginning, and they're obnoxious, and they are the way they are. We're not supposed to like them. But we as horror fans...
We did like them. That's the problem. I liked them, and as it went on, by the end, I'm like, you know what? I don't like them. I know they're bad, but the comedy got deflated towards the end, and it became stupid. It became stupidity towards the end.
Why is that stupid? Really? You thought it got stupid?
One of the final scenes, especially involving... Lowell, who's the serial killer's character, Jordan, and our tragedy girls. That scene at the end was just so ridiculously bad to me. I just did not. I loved it. It was so stupid.
It fit the film.
Yeah, it fit the film. I agree with Dave. It fit the tone and everything that preceded it, and that was their reunitement. That was like the friendship blossoming. They had the dark moment that would shift into Act 3, which was that they're not friends anymore, and they've kind of separated ways, and it builds to this moment. Is it a little forced? Yes. It's maybe more than a little forced, but not to the extent that it takes away a huge amount of enjoyment from the film, because it fits the mold that the director kind of created.
I think it took away from the character of Jordan, because here's Jordan, he's in love with Sadie, and he's this smart character. He's this intelligent guy, and I know they're satirizing him and kind of showing how stupid he is in the end, but he's doing investigative stuff, and he's onto these girls. He figures it out, and he knows, and he still makes the decisions and the actions that he does, and it leads to ultimately what it does. It just threw me off a little. I'm not saying, maybe, I don't know. I was having a really tough time with my thoughts after this one on how to word the things that were bothering me.
Okay, listen, this is another thing that I didn't want to go into because of spoilers, but I'll say it the right way. He actually made such a stupid decision, which made no sense. Do you know why it made no sense? Let me see if you can jump in if you know. Because it comes a scene when something is revealed and the two girls are saying something. Does it make an iota of sense for him to look at the girl that he has a crush on. And all of a sudden, when he finds out who really was the one that was doing the manipulation and side with her, if anything, he should have gone in the other direction and say, oh, wait a minute. This girl here was more the victim of the two, and you were the one that orchestrated it and had no pity. Fuck you. Why would he all of a sudden, hearing that about someone that he was close with and what this person did to them, why would he, at that moment, run to her side to defend her? If anything, it should have been the opposite. That was an issue I had.
Yeah, I almost prefer if it would have gone a different route and different characters had maybe been killed off at the end and somebody else takes over this idea of loving the spotlight and creating this.
See, to me, that would have been too much. We already had enough of that crazy.
But that's the point. If you're gonna go like this, go over the top. Don't just throw away this character on like a stupid little thing, because that was so stupid. I was just like, But I mean, let's focus on the great things in this and the kills and the references to other horror movies. Oh, we'll make this one like Death Proof. We'll make this one like this is like a Final Destination. They're never gonna believe us. You know, there were some terrific kills in this.
Yes, there was. Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, the Saw thing and the shop class and the Toxic Avenger type kill in the weight room with freaking Big Al. That shit. That whole Big Al sequence was great.
Yeah, Craig Robinson is great, and that was a great kill. He's like, you bitches are crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was phenomenal. That whole sequence.
Yeah. It really was. It was well played, all that stuff. And in the end, but just let me say real quick, the end. I look at that, I'm like, now that's how to end a horror film.
Yes. I knew,
You know?
Dave, as I was watching it, see you guys pop into my mind, I was thinking of you. I said, I bet you anything, Dave is going to say, this is it. This is the ending that, like, all these movies fuck up with. And here we're getting it. We're getting the ending that we deserve. And I agree, 100%.
This is the better watch out.
Oh, absolutely. This is the better watch out.
And I knew it when it ended. I said to myself, I'm like, I think Dave and Christian are going to wind up enjoying this more than I do. And it's not that I'm against the ending, because you can kind of see it coming, but the way in which it gets to that point just felt like a little too ridiculous and a little too stupid at times. But it was still a really enjoyable film.
Well, I'll tell you right now, this writer-director has already done two...
I prefer Patchwork.
It's funny. I really enjoyed Patchwork. I think he's stepped it up, and I'm looking forward to what he has coming next. But I think he might be working on a drama next, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm not sure. All I know is he did Patchwork, and I love that, because that was just...
Either way, it's fine.
Straight up dark comedy, whereas this kind of had me confused as to where my emotions were. I'm a very emotional guy.
And that's okay.
I'm a tragedy guy.
Listen, I have a couple notes that I don't remember what they are. One says cats and dogs, ?
Oh, yeah. They make reference that Sadie and MK were practicing on cats and dogs long before they ever killed a human.
Yeah. So that kind of makes them, in a lot of people's eyes, deplorable.
Yeah, they were.
It's going to be hard for people.
They were psychopaths from the beginning. It's not like the social media and the idea of fame made them want this. That was just like a bonus add-on at that point.
Yeah, but you know how sensitive a lot of horror fans are about fucking seeing cats and dogs murdered. When they hear that, are they going to be turned off to these characters?
I don't think so, because it's sort of just a passing reference. It's just a passing comment, like, oh man, we went through a lot of cats and dogs. And even Sadie's father's like, have you seen our cat?
Right, I know.
At the town hall meeting, he's like, what about our pets?
Yeah.
Not realizing it's his own daughter.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The one thing, and I give it credit for it as well, is the parents of not Brianna, Alexandra.
Michaela.
Alexandra's the fucking actress.
No,
Alexandra Shipp, right?
Michaela
Alexandra
Hooper.
Shipp.
Yeah, because it's Sadie Cunningham. So we're back to the names again, right? And then Michaela Hooper. So, like, just in case you don't know, it's Tobe Hooper. Hooper.
Nice. And did you hear Michaela's ex-boyfriend? His name was Toby, and she calls him Tobes at one point.
She must be a fan of pornophilia shows. I don't know.
Anyway, the parents, I thought they did a great job there, because she comes not from a broken family at all. They actually overdid that. It's like the perfect family.
Oh,
Seemingly, everything's like right out of like fucking Leave It to Beaver.
Norman Rockwell.
Yeah. The black Leave It to Beaver. What would the black Leave It to Beaver be?
Leave It to Beaver.
Cleavon Little. Oh, Leave It to Cleavon.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah. I don't know where that came from, but anyway, I loved what they did with that family. Sorry, you're about to ask me a question?
Yeah.
A scene.
Did the text bother you? Remember how we saw the text go across?
You know what? I'm now used to it because it's been like the 4th film I've seen this in now, where the text coming up. Yes, funny enough. Again, I thought, I'm like, how am I going to explain this now? But I've seen it in The Shallows. Oh, there's been like 2 other movies that we watched where the text now are popping up on the screen. But I guess I just have to get used to it. Didn't bother me because at this point now it's 4 movies in. I've complained about it. I've gotten over it.
At this point, and in this movie, they're really making fun of it more than using it for storytelling purposes.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the whole thing does that with the tweets and the likes and all that. And when they use it in that frame.
I'll tell you what, I really enjoyed the soundtrack to this.
Oh boy, and the sound design and everything.
Yeah.
Everything that has to do with the sound, the score, everything was top notch. I listened to it in my headphones, and I'll tell you what, great. A big plus in this film. Yeah.
I'm starting to pay more attention to that.
Nice.
Good for you.
Yeah, attaboy.
Really proud of you. I'm really surprised it just didn't get a bigger release.
Yeah, I thought it was.
There's no blue. There's no physical media for it, like officially. And apparently, it's one of those things where they print it to order, where they burn their copy on a blue and send it to you without specs or any of that shit. Isn't that weird?
It must not. I don't know how well it did at festivals. I really don't, because it was playing. Seems like all of last year at festivals. It must not have gotten. Yeah, but it didn't seem to.
Don and Ellie saw it.
It's not getting huge distribution though. So it must not be like. It must have been mixed.
I don't get it, because that movie Open House, which apparently everybody hates, was big at festivals, right? Now, this movie was big at festivals too. I can't tell you how many podcasts, like year-end shows, I heard people talking about Tragedy Girls, people that saw it at festivals loving it. And so why does Open House get a freaking Netflix thing? And this Tragedy Girls, which I think much more people are gonna react favorably to compared to Open House, why is this getting the shaft?
Give it a month. Give it a month and a half. It'll be on Shudder.
Guaranteed. You would think.
It's good to be.
It definitely should. I mean, and probably physical eventually. But I mean, what the hell? It's a damn good movie, so I'd be shocked.
What were some of your other notes that you had issues with? Or
I'll give you a note and an issue. How are they able to send a text? The Big L thing. Is there a way to do that where you can send a text to freaking everybody in a room?
Don't ask Christian. He can't even record the 3 of us.
Oh, you have feelings.
I'm just kidding. Actually, I was wondering that too. But look, I can't pick apart.
There you go.
Said.
Fine.
Otherwise,
right.
At that point, I'm just like, whatever. They can do this.
Okay. I'm just making sure there's not some device that I don't know of. You know, there's like cell phone jammers. Maybe there's some other device that does the opposite, where you can somehow, every cell phone in your area, you can send a text.
Yeah, well, that had to be, because how would they... Yeah,
I don't know.
Otherwise, it didn't make much sense, but that was like not one of my main issues.
Okay, one more thing I didn't get. The breathing phone thing. Remember they were breathing on the phone? Yeah. What the hell was that all about? Why would you do that? Remember that? The heavy breathing, and then it took 4 guesses for him to guess who it was?
It's a shits and giggles thing, you know.
It's a what thing?
Shits and giggles.
Oh, okay.
Right. let's torment this guy. I'm going to moan into the phone. And she was all upset that he said her name fourth.
Oh yeah, that was funny. That was hilarious. Sorry, I think they're just fucking with him.
Yeah,
trying to freak him out.
Okay. Well, I do like how they play that whole thing with the ex-boyfriends, because the one girl really liked the one guy, and then the other girl had an ex that she really liked. And when push came to shove, they weren't afraid to do what they had to do for the cause, even though you can see they genuinely had feelings. That's what I like. In another movie, something else would have happened.
Absolutely. They would have been like, I can't do it. Or they would have, at the moment of truth, they would have said, I can't go through with it or whatever. And then that would have been the Hollywood sweet sort of ass. No, this went and did it.
Yeah.
They went with it. If it was set up, they played it out.
Well, they established it pretty early on that I didn't doubt that they were going to go all the way.
Yeah, but the way they spoke to them, all the way, going all the way. the way they spoke to him, you weren't sure because she was doing that talk. And like when MK was talking to the one guy, all of a sudden, like it seemed like she was being wooed by him. And for a second, you're thinking, oh, well, wait a minute. You know, she seems really into him. And then later on, of course, ultimately, when the other girl, what's the other girl? I'm sorry.
Brianna?
Brianna? Okay.
Sadie, yeah.
Sadie. Yeah, Sadie. It's a good name, too.
Brianna's the actress's name.
I know. I'm going by the actress's names.
We keep doing that. That's so weird. I don't know any name except I just know MK, Michaela. But, you know, what happens to her, I mean, that makes sense later on. But even earlier on, you think she's going to go someplace, and then they put the kibosh on it. And that's what I liked, that it wasn't typical, that they kept their eyes on the prize, except for, you know, plot-wise for the character arc later. All that was played well. For me, there's really nothing else I can complain about. I mean, I like what the one father says because that's going to totally be me because he's busting the kid's balls when he comes and picks up the girl. But when they leave, he's like, yeah, bring her home early. You know, and all that shit. He's coming off like an asshole. Yeah. But as soon as he leaves, he kind of chuckles.
Smiles.
Yeah.
I thought that was great because they had those little subtle nuances, maybe not so subtle, but it works, and it makes the character likable. And you do like them. Somehow you do like these people, even though they're doing horrible things. That takes something. Like, I mean, for a writer and a director who I think is one in the same year. No, it's not. Actually, it's written by different people. But to be able to do that and pull it off is not an easy task. And I think they managed to do it. The social commentary factor, Brandon, if you're having a problem with it, it's there so that it's just not another slasher, I think. Whether you buy into it or not, I guess is the magic,
Yeah. See, and I'm saying I would have liked it more just as a straight-up slasher because the way I felt about the characters definitely changed from the first half of the film to the second half. It loses its comedic edge and just becomes much more mean-spirited and dark. And, I mean, it was always building towards that because they hint at, you know, obviously the cats and dogs comment and Jordan's mother. You know it's all leading to something dark.
Yeah.
Even the whole mother thing didn't even make sense. Like, why are these two girls in her car?
Oh.
Yeah, you can't read too deeply. Who knows?
Yeah,
maybe...
I mean, I didn't read. I mean, you know, it's a small neighborhood. You know, maybe
Yeah.
I
could
didn't.
be a ride back from dance class, and maybe
Exactly.
It could be anything.
Yeah,
It's
maybe
just...
he has a sister. You know, something like that.
Yeah, it could be anything. And I will say, I really did feel pity for Michaela halfway through the film when things went bad and when Sadie did what she did at the podium and the tragedy girl thing and how she went away. And I felt bad for her. That's when I was like, oh, man, I actually pity this girl who I'm supposed to, you know, not be able to relate to. And they worked that well. And that's what it is. And that's the gimmick of the film. And again, with you and Mean-Spirited and me and Mean-Spirited B, it's the same. I've seen you use that as a, and not just you. I've seen other people say it online and shit. But it's like, I hear people use the word mean-spirited as it being a negative, a detriment to a film. Where me, I love it mean-spirited, especially in a film where it's comedic. Having mean-spirited stuff brought into it almost kind of evens it out for me. That's
I guess in a way it would even it out if it's half comedic, half serious. But to me, it just didn't feel balanced well enough. So by the end, it just felt like, wow, this really took a much. Not that the ending was different than what I expected, but just the way it all unfolded was dramatically darker and different than the first half.
Yeah, it's kind of like Another Evil. Remember how Another Evil was more lighthearted in the beginning, and then it got totally serious by the third half?
Oh, yeah. I thought that was going to go full funny games by the end.
By the way, I showed that movie to my brother and my buddy the other day.
Which one, Another Evil?
Yes, and my brother brought something up. He goes, maybe the ghosts actually are evil. And the other guy was wrong and Oz was right, because maybe the whole thing with the key, maybe they were evil. Maybe Oz was right the whole time. And I go, wow, I never thought of it from that perspective.
And he was helping them go save them or something like that.
Yeah, could you imagine?
Yeah,
it's cool, huh?
That's a great film.
Yeah, me neither. All the times we watched it, and then we talked about it afterwards. I go, you know what? We discussed it on the show, this and that. We talked about it for the. Nobody thought of that, so I thought that was cool. That there's another great thing about that film. You could take it that way. Who knows? But anyway.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that was cool.
I don't have a lot to say about this in the sense of that it is fairly straightforward using the social commentary as its, I don't want to say crutch because that makes it sound like I didn't enjoy the movie at all. But
Gimmick.
but that's the gimmick. And in this day and age, it plays out quite well. Everybody wants to be famous, and they're using death and dismemberment and everything to get it. So it works for what the the writers and the director are trying to get across. I didn't have the problem Brandon had. I would say that I was 3/4 head exploded.
I can buy that. I was going to say that too, but I'm going to go a little further because I'm going to say head exploded straight up.
I had a sore throat.
You had a mild rumbling?
I had a mild rumble, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why, for some reason, I just found myself watching this movie and losing interest as it went on, which was weird because I was so into it from the beginning, and then it felt like they were almost making these characters less interesting as it went on. And I felt like by the end, like, I just, like, whatever, I don't care.
Wow, I'm the polar opposite.
Yeah,
I thought it got better in the
as am
second
I.
half. Yeah,
It's so weird. We always do this. I don't know.
I know.
As I thought, okay, here's where it's going to start grinding gears, as I usually say, and start taking a nosedive. It kept my interest and managed to pull off what could be cliche with the breakup with the friendship and everything like that, and then just use that to make it go one step further. And I'm like, oh, this is great. And then the whole prom climax.
The timing of everything that went down at the end, do you think that was all pre-planned, or
That was
No.
I would say that would probably be something that you could take away from. But again, that's overthinking this type of movie.
Yeah, I mean that's what we do. But
And a lot of people say, well, no, that is what you're supposed to do. But sometimes there are
I
timing
get
issues.
it. You shouldn't do it for a semi-slasher film or straight-up slasher film.
We can do it, and it can be a reason why you don't like the movie. That's legit. I'm just saying, though, I know what you're referring to, and again, for not getting into spoilers and whatever, I think we could keep it vague. But yeah, there's some things that timing, they play around with the timing a little bit. It's a little bit more convenient for the movie to play out.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
All right.
Cool.
So that's that. That's Tragedy Girls, and based on what we said, I have a feeling that people are going to check it out. They're probably going to check it out anyway, regardless of what we said.
Gonna give numbers or no?
Nah. We'll save the numbers. No, this was C's idea. We keep it at head ratings for new movies. This way, when we get to the year-end show, they don't know exactly where we're going to go.
His idea was to give more head, I thought.
Yeah. And cum guzzling. Let's not forget that. Yeah.
Okay. I guess we got to take a break. Come right back.
Guys, see you on the flips.
Hello, have you ever heard of MSK 3000? Yeah, well, we ain't them. But we are movie fans who like to drink and talk shit about our favorite movies. So join me, your host Nudie, along with my co-host Jake the Snake, and special guest stars as we dissect our favorite, or maybe not so favorite movies, on the NFW podcast, otherwise known as No Fucking Way. You can catch us on Heartophilia, and also at NFW_podcast on Twitter, or NFWpodcast@yahoo.com.
We're back. Time for emails. All right. We have a new... Oh, nice.
That's the
nice.
email.
Okay, I could dig it.
Bring us in emails.
Speedy delivery.
Wait, is it almost time for another recipe?
Yeah, come up with some hash brownies. Okay.
Yeah, we got to do a dessert.
Fettuccine Alfredo. How's that?
Fettuccine semi-Alfredo.
How about this guy, Reggie Simpkins?
Sorry.
Reggie who?
Reggie
Bannister?
Simpkins. Bannister, yes. Reggie is here to join us tonight now. Unadvertised. No, his name is Reggie
The
Simpkins.
Reckless? I'm sorry. I had to do it just because he did it like 8 times like in a row, and it almost seemed like unintentionally that he did it, that I intentionally had to throw it in.
I'm rushing for your guy's sake. I'm rushing for C's sake so we can have a nice 2.5-hour show to edit, which is our goal. Nice. I do it for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I try.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are welcome. Okay, Reggie Simpkins. Okay, suggestion. Now this is an SC level email, so let me stretch my back. It's a first timer. Let's see what he says here. Hey, I've recently become a fan of the podcast and just recently joined the Facebook group after finishing the Paranormal Activity franchise podcast. Boom! So Paranormal Activity show brought in a new listener. See? Yeah.
Good start.
Yeah, man. You guys should do the Conjuring franchise with Annabelle 1 and 2. The Nun, even The Crooked Man. Yes, I know The Nun hasn't been released, and from what I've heard, The Crooked Man is still up in the air, but mostly depends on the success of The Nun. I could be wrong, but regardless, I'm interested in what you guys think of the series. Okay. So we'll see. That could be something. A universe show. Also, it was said in your Paranormal Activity podcast about Insidious not being liked for one reason or another. And my argument is if Paranormal Activity can introduce time travel, why can't Insidious play off that? Because in a way, it's sort of the same thing. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Reggie, Dave is the one this should be directed to.
True.
Brandon and I like all three.
No issue with Insidious.
I like all three of them. I haven't seen the Skeleton Key, or what's it called?
The Skeleton Crew.
No, it's the new one.
The final key?
It is the Skeleton Key.
The final Skeleton Key and
the last key.
No, the last key. The
last Skeleton Key.
Sorry, Reckless.
He is Reggie the Reckless from now on. I'm Prince.
And I'll tell you, listen, he can be the Reggie the Reckless. That's fine. I will go into it another show. Not now. There's major issues with the plot in Insidious 2. Yeah. I don't mind time travel, but what they did in that movie, they gave us questions that we didn't want answers to. No, they gave us answers to questions that nobody asked, and they made it more confusing than it had to be, and that's another show, and whatever. Another show, I'll run down my problems with that movie. So I don't have a problem with time travel at all, believe me, but just it's got to be done right. Okay. You guys can also do one on today's modern horror films and the need to tie them together, like Saw or Paranormal Activity, even Insidious. You could even discuss the new Blair Witch. I can go on and on. I'm a huge horror movie fan. It's actually my preference. It's all I really watch.
Nice.
So I listened to various podcasts, but found this one to be the best. Hey now.
Oh, thanks, Reg.
Yeah.
Can I call you Reg?
We can call him many.
Get an email in 2 weeks. No, you can't call me Reggie.
I prefer Reggie.
Let me know what you. Pardon me. This is hard for me to read because there's no.
It's English.
Well, no, it's one long thing. There's no paragraphs or anything, and it's hard.
Apparently, Reggie's Canadian.
Let me know what you think, and if and when you decide to address this email, let me know what episode it'll be answered so I can tune in. Well, hope you're listening. I'm currently listening to podcast 41, and you guys are currently discussing remakes, and I sort of agree, and I must say some remakes should just be left alone and not touched. It was said in Scream, don't fuck with the originals. Look at Rob Zombie's Halloween. Yes, I liked it, but feel that it should have been just left alone. His Michael Myers was fucking huge. He was too big. I liked the backstory, and Scout Taylor Compton played that part perfectly. I loved her, but she'll never compare with Jamie Lee Curtis. But she did great. But in my opinion, Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street shouldn't be touched. They are essentially legends in their own right and created slashers, or at least took it to another level. Even Child's Play before this bullshit comedy was great. He's right about that. But back to Halloween. He got away from what Michael was about. He was never known as a person. He was known as the shape, which is why John Carpenter said this upcoming Halloween will be the scariest one ever, and I'm excited. Nonetheless, I look forward to...
I heard he's going to be a trapezoid in the new film.
That is a shape.
I'm gonna get you. If I can only see what I'm doing, it would actually be funny.
It'd actually like pull it down even further.
A trapezoid. I'm looking forward to the new Halloween.
I am too.
Yeah.
I always get excited and I always get let down. So I'm going in with the so that I get blown away.
Or just blown.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get blown in the theater by a trapezoid.
Is that why they call you the Crooked Man?
Oh, lordy.
Oh, yeah, that's what you get, Reg.
Yeah, reckless. Thank you, Reggie. Seriously, there's a lot to cover. There's lots of opinions about remakes. As much as I enjoyed them, I do kind of wish that they never were remade. I'm tired of having to.
Yeah. Look, I would rather see original content.
Yeah.
Constantly. But if you're gonna do a remake it.
Yeah, I mean Rob Zombie remade.
Said by Brandon Orlick.
No, remake it. Don't give us a definitive, word by word retelling of what we just watched 30 years earlier.
Well, that's what Rob Zombie did, and were you happy with it? Although, I'm sorry, the second half of Rob Zombie was by the numbers of part one, but the first half
Cliff Notes version. Yeah.
To be honest though, I actually enjoyed, and I know most people enjoyed the first half better. I enjoyed the second half better.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't care.
Minority.
Michael's a kid. I don't care.
No, I agree. I just think that it's the lesser of two evils, as far as that movie's concerned. That's all.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't hate that film.
No, but I mean, I'm not crazy about the first half, but the first half an hour is great. But I'm not crazy that he had to be white trash and all that other shit going on, and But whatever, that's a whole other
I'm not
discussion.
crazy that he duct taped his stepdad without him waking up and.
Yeah, well, it's a slasher. I mean, come on. What about
Drunk.
Jason?
I've duct taped my dad plenty of times.
Yeah.
What about the sleeping bag pill in Friday the 13th remake? That wouldn't have happened. The person would have fallen out long before freaking they died.
Remember. The most important thing said in the last few minutes is, if you're gonna remake something, just remake it.
Yes. It should be on a shirt.
It's wisdom.
I'm fucking exhausted already.
Already you're exhausted?
I don't know what the hell's the matter with me. I hit a wall all of a sudden.
Well, let's wake you up out of that wall. Okay, hold on. Let's talk about our friend Jordi Ostier. Okay. Hey guys, this email is way overdue. First off, I have so much respect for the top 50 slasher show you guys did. It's insane how many slashers you guys watch to do this show. Hats off, my friends.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Jordy.
Thank you, Jordy.
Jordy. Clocksklag 12. That's his podcast. But you got to be...
2 more English episodes.
2 more?
2 more.
Oh, I thought you were announcing something.
As I say that in broken English. 2 more English.
2 more. What's the name of the podcast?
Well, the Midnight Hour.
Clydesdale what? Is it about horses? Is it about horses?
That Budweiser commercial? Yeah. Okay, poor Jordy. Okay. I am excited for your Is It Horror episode. It will be a very good discussion going. It will get a very good discussion going. I still haven't seen Brimstone, so I can't say if this is horror or not. But it's true what they say. There are some brutal westerns that are definitely not horror. That being said, I think I had the solution for you guys. In my opinion, it's totally fine for a horror movie podcast to talk about borderline horror movies or movies that are linked to the horror genre. Because in the end, a good movie is a good movie no matter what genre. And second, it's all about atmosphere. For example,
True.
I like this breakdown. Bone Tomahawk. 3/4 of the movie is a pure Western, and the last part is a horrific part combined with the atmosphere you get in horror movies. So, it's not the gore alone that makes the part horror, it's the combination with the atmosphere. Yes. Now, Saving Private Ryan. The first part is a straight-up gore fest, and the rest of the movie is a pure war movie. But the gore fest you see is combined with a dramatic atmosphere. Even though it's horror what the characters experience, and it's a total gore fest, it has a dramatic atmosphere, not a horror movie atmosphere. Well said.
I laughed my ass off that whole movie.
I never saw it. And that's why Bone Tomahawk could be linked to a horror movie, and Saving Private Ryan cannot.
Shaving Private Ryan.
Shaving Ryan's privates. Yes.
That's the one you saw, eh, Dave?
That and a double feature with the Pelican Queef, or Gladiator.
Oh my
Gladiator.
God.
Gladiator.
Wow.
I hope I can make sense in this theory I made up. Okay, same goes for Kong, Skull Island, and Shape of Water. Not for the same reason as Bone Tomahawk, because Kong is an action flick and Shape of Water is a romantic movie. But I do feel like horror movie podcasts can review these movies because those movies are creature features that are linked to horror movies. That's fair. We will never do shit like that, but that's us. The first King Kong was a straight-up horror movie back in the 30s, and Shape of Water is a Del Toro creature from Black Lagoon. So even though these movies aren't horror, it's totally fine by me to review them in a horror movie podcast. And yes, you can argue Jurassic World is a creature feature, but none of the Jurassic Park movies have something to do with horror, even though the book is. So unless the new Jurassic World will be a straight-up horror movie, it's totally fine to keep this movie off your list and Shape of Water on your list. Well, that's my opinion on the Is It Horror discussion. Now, you guys do talk about some movies being horror when they're totally not horror. So please, guys, explain to me why you consider Kill Your Friends a horror movie when there is 0% horror atmosphere in this movie. A good movie nonetheless, but no horror in my opinion. As you guys know, I love the podcast, and you guys do a terrific good job. Cheers.
Thanks, Jordy. That was long overdue, and it was long overwritten.
It's an SC kind of night, man.
I'm kidding. That was awesome. No, we appreciate it. All joking aside, we appreciate it. Kill Your Friends was very controversial. I think two people chimed in to say, what the fuck are you guys talking about? But I think that's why we kept it off of our major lists.
You did.
Right? We
Right.
did. It made
11 to 17.
Yeah, 11 to
11,
16
11 to 16
range
yeah.
or honorable mentions. But I hear you. I mean, it's horrific events, but the tone of the movie is definitely anything but a horror film.
Well, true, but is it really that much different from American Psycho?
Oh, that's what I was going to bring up.
There were American Psycho-esque elements, which is, I think, our argument last time. But I think the vibe of the movie is a little bit more Danny Boyle Train Spotting or something.
But that's not comical. Train Spotting?
Yeah, Train Spotting.
Is it?
Depends on your sense of humor.
Train spotting is when a large woman is bleeding from her vagina.
Oh.
I only saw it once.
They say she's train spotting.
Oh, I thought that really happened in the movie for a second.
Well, every show I think we've hit the low, but nope.
Nope.
Hey, got a good laugh from Dave.
Yeah.
I wasn't laughing, though. I thought it was real. That's the funny part. I thought you said in Train Spotting, a large woman's bleeding from her vagina. I thought you were making that as a point, saying that's horror.
Honestly, one thing I do want is if a remake of Train Spotting, but I just want them to remake it.
It's weird that you laugh at that because I find nothing in that funny. The delivery,
The delivery was horrible. I admit it was horrible. But it was.
No, I agree with Christian. If they're going to remake Train Spotting, the best way to go about doing it would be just to simply remake it.
Yes, just remake it, indeed. Yeah, Kill Your Friends, we did keep it off the top, because I even said I rated a 9, and it would have made my top 5 if I was going to really consider it horror. But I felt it deserved to be talked about, because it's just one of those movies that I think that horror fans are going to appreciate. That's what's weird. Some movies come up, like Green Room, for example. We can go on and on about it, but it's the only people that were talking about that movie, I think, are horror fans. I don't think you, right? I mean, could you walk up to Joe Blow on the street that knows about Triple X and fucking?
I don't know Joe Blow.
Jurassic World and say, hey, you should watch Green Room, or have you seen Green Room? Do you think they'll know what you're talking about?
I don't. First of all, my name's not Joe.
But you do blow.
Dave, I think you are right. For once,
I'm not saying it's a horror movie. I'm not even saying that, but I'm saying that only horror fans seem to know about these movies. So what else can you say? And we're going to get into that when we have the Is It Horror
That's
show.
the whole point. They border on horror. Some of these films appeal to horror fans because of certain subject material within the film that's horrific.
How about Shape of Water? Horror fans took that as their own just because it's Del Toro. And that always happens with Del Toro.
Well, the look of it made it seem like, it was going to be a horror film. I knew it was going to be partial love story, but I thought it was going to be horrific elements as well. I didn't know it wasn't going to be a straight up horror film.
But that's
I still haven't seen
trailers.
it yet.
I was just
still
mad
haven't-
that Michael Myers wasn't in it.
The trapezoid of water. But
I'm killing it.
That's the shape of H2O.
Man, just when I think he's hitting the walls on low, he comes in with a good one.
I thought Train Spotting was good. Maybe some people won't get it.
No, I get the joke. No, I just
Didn't find it
I
funny.
hear you.
I get the joke. It's just not a joke because it's not funny.
Trailers is the problem. I'm
Trailers
tired
are
of
misleading.
people. I'm tired of people saying that this isn't a horror movie because I watched the trailer and it wasn't what I expected. Like fucking It Comes at Night. Guess fucking what? That doesn't mean anything. Anyway, we'll talk about it on there. Obviously, we're gonna
Here's
have
our
to do
show.
that. We're
Yeah,
gonna do that whole show.
I haven't even thought about criteria and broken this down
We're
to
gonna.
in all its detail.
By the
So-
time the show is heard, we'll have the post up saying what movie do you think
Oh yeah.
should be discussed as a horror, and then like I said, the top 20 will start, and then we'll take it from there. But that will be hopefully a great show with great discussions, and we'll figure it out. And
We're
whatever.
doing that as a consensus as well. It's not each individual, right?
What do you mean as a
We're
consensus?
gonna come up. The three of us are going to come up with our idea of what horror is together. Not Dave. Do you think this is horror? Brandon, do you think this is horror? Christian, do you think this is horror?
I think at the end that's how we're going to decide. If
Oh, you
two
think-
against one, then it's horror. Because what if we can't come to a consensus? And me and Christian feel one way and you feel the other. What are we going to say? You're right and we're wrong?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Christian, do you have a different idea?
No, I concur.
All right. Concur. Okay, let's move on. We have another email from Derek B. in response to the last show. And he says he would do it, and he did it. Derek B. My top 20 go-to horror scores. Hey guys, Derek B. here from the podcast, what you call Cinema Blend. Christian, your humor is uncanny. Dave, your Zelda Rubinstein impersonation is top-notch. And Brandon, Christian, get those grasshoppers chirping. Hello, just kidding. You're crazy, even though I feel Facebook games and drawing special objects have taken over your life. You're still one funny motherfucker, you. You motherfucker, you. Okay.
Said that in Zelda's voice.
Zelda's voice?
Feel it. It makes you strong.
Was she on South Park as well?
I don't know. I missed the joke. South Park. Explain.
Sounded like a South Park character.
That did?
Yeah.
Feel it. It makes you strong.
She actually sounds like a South Park character. It sounds like her, but it sounds like a South Park character
You
as
keep
well.
breaking it up. Can I hear it one more time? I'm sorry.
That's it. You get twice. That's it. I'm not doing it again.
Now it's coming down hard on you tonight, I notice.
What else is new? Well, since you guys did your lists, I guess I will give my top 20 for you guys to read off. Okay, here we go. 20, Simon Boswell, Hardware. Haven't seen it in years.
Hey, Hardware's awesome.
It's a good flick. It's been so many years. 19, James Horner, Wolfen. Wow, interesting.
James Horner's good. I don't remember the Wolfen soundtrack. I'd have to check it out again.
18, this one is great. John Harrison, Day of the Dead. I just listened to it the other day.
Yeah.
It's fucking great. And James Horner, what else did he do?
A ton of shit, man. Here,
Yeah?
while you're
Wolfen 2.
Yeah, Wolfen on the 2 on the move.
Wolfenstein. Wolf Cop.
Wolfcock. 17, John Williams, The Fury. John Williams is always good. 16, Steve Moore, The Mind's Eye. Wow, I guess that was a good soundtrack, huh?
That was. We totally forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Good call.
15, Riz Ortolani, House on the Edge of the Park. Ooh, wow. 14, huh?
He was my number one, Riz Ortolani.
Was he?
Yeah, Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh, that's him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Where do you
So
want me
he
to
does all-
start with James Horner?
What do you got, buddy? Little Jack Horner.
Well, he's uncredited on Blade Runner, but then he did Cocoon. He did Red Heat, Die Hard, uncredited. Some of the things, Cocoon, The Return, Field of Dreams. Oh, these are a lot of uncredited at the beginning.
Is he credited with doing it?
Why is he always uncredited? The whole fashion?
All these movies he had nothing to do with.
Was he credited for Wolfen? What is this?
Titanic? Actually, funny, I didn't even see Wolfen.
Did he really do anything? I don't know.
He's not even a
I
composer.
see Wolf in here.
I give up. 14, Benjamin Sheldon, or Sheldon, Horsehead. 13, Jerry Goldsmith, Poltergeist, of course. 12, Fabio Frizzi, The Beyond. Good stuff. 11, Wojciech Gachezewski, Late Phases. Wow.
You nailed it on that name, I think.
I tried. Ennio Morricone, White Dog. I don't even know what that is, White Dog.
It's about a racist dog.
Oh, okay, asshole.
It's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
Not racist enough for me though. I went through the wrong thing. I went through soundtrack, and now I'm in composer. So he did. Just here's some of them, not all of them. Humanoids from the Deep, Battle Beyond the Stars, The Hand, Wolf and Deadly Blessing. Some other ones, 48 Hours, Crawl, Space Raiders, Brainstorm, Dresser Gorky Park.
What is it? Porky Park.
Cocoon, Volunteers,
What was it?
Commando, Aliens, you son of some bitches, you. American
Porky
Tail,
Park.
Project X, Batteries Not Included, Red Heat, Cocoon. The
Batteries
Return,
Not Included was a good film.
I watched
Glory.
it about a month ago.
I love that film. Saw that in the movie theater.
So did I. Did you cry?
No, but I remember loving the soundtrack by the guy who did Wolfen.
Sneakers.
What do you say, Snickers?
Yep, Snickers.
Some other movies.
The
That was the
Snickers
best one that
commercial?
you threw the comments. Some other movies right in the middle.
The Pelican Brief. Did we make a joke about it earlier?
Yeah, the Pelican Queef.
Yeah.
Legends of the Fall, Braveheart, Casper, Apollo 13, Balto, of course, Courage Under Fire, Ransom, like a Titanic, like a fucking shitloads.
Shitload.
Well, Titanic is big. Apollo 13 was epic.
I just can't believe there was a fourth fucking Porky's movie I didn't know about.
What are you
Porky's
talking
Park?
about? No,
He said something about
Gorky Park.
Gorky Park.
Porky's Park. That's where Brandon frequents every Friday.
Isn't Gorky Park in Russia?
Yeah, it was a band from Russia. I remember that. In the 80s.
Down
Porky's
in
Park.
Gorky Park.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
It
Scorpions.
was a band.
While my balalaka sings.
It was a metal band.
Listen
No, he's talking
to
about the Scorpion
winds
song, The Winds of Change.
Change.
Oh, yeah. Down
Down
in
in
Gorky
Gorky.
Park. You're right, but I'm telling you, there was a band in the 80s. I gotta find this now. Gorky Park. I'm telling you, they're a band. Okay, let's see.
Porky's Park. We're making that. Porky's Park.
Gork and Mindy.
Gorky Park rock band. There you go. Gorky Park hard rock band that gained mainstream popularity on the United States during Perestroika. Huh. Told you they were a band.
Oh,
Okay.
Dave, I don't want to be the one to say this, but I feel like you're just into this for the stats.
Yes, I am. Yep. You know it. Perfect. But I can't believe Porky. I thought there was a fourth Porky's movie. That would have been cool. Porky's 2,
Pork.
Porky's Revenge, and then
Gorky Park.
Porky's Park. Instead of Jurassic Park, Porky's Park.
I'm ready to move on.
Fucking Jurassic World. Yeah, okay. Let's move
That's
on.
being very mean tonight.
I'm being mean.
Yeah, I feel like Christian's being very mean.
Oh.
I feel like
That's
I'm ready.
Nah, you're okay. You're all right. You'll get over it.
You're
Okay.
a good guy, my
Let's go to Goblin, number 9, Tenebrae. All right, of course. Jerry
Brandon's
Gold.
gobbling down 3 penises before the show.
Number 8, Jerry Goldsmith, The Omen, of course.
Perfecto.
7, Akira Ifukube, Godzilla, a.k.a. Gojira. Again, this guy. Number 8, Wojciech Golczewski, We Are Still Here. Wow.
Nice.
Okay. 5, Disaster Piece, It Follows. Yep. 4, Bernard Herrmann, Psycho. Yep.
Nice.
Number 3, John Carpenter, The Thing.
Nice.
Pardon me, John Carpenter, The Fog. Sorry.
Yeah, Pino.
2, Ennio Morricone, The Thing.
Oh, yeah.
And num-
Yeah, okay, yeah. Well, who did? Oh, yeah, Carrie. I'm thinking of Carrie for a second.
Pino Donaggio.
Yeah.
I had him on my list.
Oh, I thought it was
Wait.
Pinot Noir. These jokes are fucking brutal tonight.
Baruch.
They're perfect exploding heads jokes.
They are. It's not imploding. They're exploding still. Number 1.
Mild convulsions.
Number 1. Anybody want to guess?
Maniac Remake.
That's only on Brandon's list. It's number 1.
No.
Cannibal Holocaust.
No.
Deep Red.
Nope.
Is
One
it
more.
Italian?
Italian.
It's got to be Fabio Frizzi for something.
You're there. You're there.
Dr. Butcher, MD.
Is it City of the Living Dead?
Oh and no.
Burial Ground.
Come on, man. It's the most obvious one. Really?
Fabio Frizzi. Oh, Zombie.
Yes. Zombie. Yes.
Yeah, it's his favorite film. Idiot.
There you go. There you go.
Is that Zombie 2?
Electric Zombie Boogaloo.
No, that's not allowed on this show. You got to say on the move.
On the move.
Zombie 2 on the move.
These zombies are on the move. I don't like no fast-running zombies.
Exactly. Zombie 2 on the move. It makes sense. It should be it. They're fast-running zombies. Wow. No shit. Okay, a couple things. This is just a little heads up that was sent from Peter, and he says,
Piper?
you may know this already. Peter Flamendetto?
Oh, yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, Flamanfredo. Sorry. I hope I'm saying it right.
I don't think you are.
Okay, let me read it again. F, is that an I or a U? Or, I mean...
You're the one reading it.
Let me read it, but tell me what letter this is.
I'm going to say is it an I or an L. It's a Peter Fiamafredo. Fiamafredo.
Nailed it.
Fiamafredo, okay?
Fiamafredo.
He wants the listeners to know. You may know this already, but Shudder is thinking about getting Joe Bob Briggs on the network as a horror movie host. I grew up watching Joe Bob and would love to see him again. I emailed Shudder telling them how I feel. If you like Joe Bob, drop Shudder a Facebook message telling them how you feel. He wanted us to pass that on. They talked about this on 22 Shots.
I thought JP took credit for this.
JP takes credit for everything. He's the reason Shudder exists.
Yeah, JP, if you're so good, get fucking PlayStation on Shudder. Yeah. Or Shudder on PlayStation, sorry.
Get PlayStation on Shudder too. Get Nintendo on Shudder.
I'm going to say something controversial.
Say it.
Oh,
Fuck Joe Bob?
You're not a fan of Joe Bob?
I'm not. No, I'm fine with Joe Bob.
Oh,
but
okay.
Fuck Peter? Peter's a nice guy.
No, none of that. No.
His real name's not really Fiamondo?
I never paid attention to fucking... Good God.
Horror hosts?
To Monster Vision. I never watched Monster Vision.
Svengoolie?
In passing, if I saw Joe Bob on the screen, I would listen to what he said because it was entertaining. But anytime I saw Monster Vision, really, it made no sense for me to watch censored versions of horror movies why would I, as a horror fan at that age? I mean, I had all the VHS in front of me or whatever, you know what I mean? So I never understood why everybody tuned into all these shows to watch censored versions of Friday the 13th, etc. You know what I mean? That's what made no sense to me. I'm glad that it was around, but that's why I don't have the passion about that other people do, because why am I watching that?
Yeah. No, I hear you. We didn't get him in Canada. I think I mentioned this before. We talked about this because we didn't have no Monster Vision. We did get Elvira.
It's like a disease.
Elvira.
Oh, yeah, I'm suffering from aloe vera.
And maybe if Joe Bob wore tighter shirts, he would have been in Canada. But
yeah, rub some aloe vera on that.
You had Captain Canuck, though, right?
Yeah, we had Captain Canuck.
Yeah, I mean, there's no beating him. But anyway, did you guys watch Joe Bob?
I remember him.
I think I just answered the question.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Dave just pulled a me from earlier.
I know I did. Exactly. Good God. I respect it. I
didn't watch it a lot. Never liked watching the censored films either.
No, it makes no sense. Why would I subject myself to that? Although, not to him, because he was fine. If I could just watch him without the movies, that would be fine, just for his comments.
Yeah. Well, Shudder, then there would be uncensored, of course.
Yeah, it would be uncensored, so that would actually be cool.
One thing is, if they do bring it back, they should bring it back.
Yeah, on the move.
No, they got to remake if they want to bring it back.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
It's one of those nights. I'm sorry.
So that's a quick message there. We have a couple more here. Jim K. Hey, guys, just to clarify, it was CBS Fox, LOL. Remember we were talking about CBS last week, and I think you said CBC.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go.
That was a cliffhanger. That was a cliffhanger, wasn't it?
Thanks, Jim K.
I do not remember.
Oh, my God.
What else
fucking
is new?
Guy.
What is this in reference to, CBS Fox?
He doesn't even know that he's been canceled off the show yet. He's that far behind in episodes.
Am I on CBS Fox? Have I been canceled off CBS Fox? Maybe Netflix will pick me
Off
up.
Exploded Heads. I don't even. This is a Phantom show.
Maybe Shutter will pick us up.
Wouldn't that be great? We should be on there. Fuck Joe Bob. The three of us should go on and review movies and be in the middle.
No, that should be the content. Us fucking Joe Bob. On Shutter.
All shucks, boys. Give it to me.
Okay. Last show, he was talking about his top 20 or top 10 distributor logos, and he said,
"Oh yes, that's it. Okay, I remember."
CBC/Fox, and CBC comes from Canada, and Fox. I was like, "What is that? 20th Century Fox?" So anyway, does this even help us? What does CBS Fox look like, or sound like? Nobody.
Bing, 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 bing.
What the hell was that? Asian?
What does the Fox say? What does the CBS?
Oh, I thought you were going like bing, 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 bing. Okay, forget it.
I couldn't do it because I started laughing. That's a fucking brilliant joke, but I fucking failed on the singing of it.
Oh, damn it. Anyway, okay. He wants to say this too. The movie title list, pay attention, boys. This is what he says to clarify. The movie title list should be best, but a separate list of worst or funniest could be interesting also. So, I was right. He said best. You guys are talking about funniest, worst, this and that. The guy said best. You guys didn't understand it.
Best what?
Titles?
Best horror movie titles. Like I said last week, Friday the 13th. That's a great title for a horror movie.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I meant. Best title. That's what he meant, and that's what I understood. You guys are talking about funniest or fucking worst or some shit, you know?
Yeah,
I think it should be.
remember.
I think it should be silliest.
Fine.
Best.
We'll
Who
do
the hell
a
are we to
show.
judge best? Psycho's a great title.
What do you mean?
Omen's a great title. Carrie's a great title. It's about Carrie.
Oh, Carrie's
Carrie
not a good
is
title.
Great
Oh
title.
yeah, they should have called it Carrietta.
No. Oh my God.
They should have called it Blood Babe or something.
How is
What,
sleep?
babe?
How asleep is Francesca right now?
Jesus.
Okay.
Say what you want.
No, I meant can you wake her up? Like
Oh!
a spot's become available. How clear can I get? Yeah.
A train spot's become available. Oh, so yeah, Jim K, we'll do a whole show with just movie titles. Best, worst, funniest.
I'm picking the first 20. They're my best. It follows the best.
Oh my God.
It comes at night. I'm doing my top 20 best It movies. It remake. It comes at night.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Okay, move on.
Yeah, move on. I think that's it. I thought for some reason I thought I had one more message here on Facebook, and I just cannot find it now. So
Sent it. Fuck you.
either I'm wrong or it will be a cliffhanger. Yeah,
That we never get back to.
we'll do a weekend. Okay, so let's get into our triple R's. We have one movie that we all watched, and we have how many movies do we have?
I have 3 in total, including the one that we all watched.
I have 5 in total, but mine will be quick because they're catch-ups on first-time movies, so they're just kind of like boom, 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 boom.
Ketchup. How about some mustard?
Oh my fucking God. It's just, it's unfathomably bad tonight.
Dave, would you do me a favor? Would you go wake Francesca up for me?
No.
I
Tell
just
her
cracked that joke 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, but I cracked it better because I'm admitting that I need to step down as the third host on the show. And
Oh, shit. Let the poor girl be. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my 2 right quick. Cause,
Oh.
you know what I mean? Because we each have 3, so then we go round.
Let's stop him, Brandon. I don't think we can stop you.
I'll be quick. Check it out. Because here's what I have. I watched for the first time ever The Devil's Backbone. Here's what I noticed about Del Toro. He always seems to have children as the central part. And if not children, then romance. It's one or the other, I've noticed. There's a kid in Kronos. There's a kid in Pan's Labyrinth. There's kids as the lead in Devil's Backbone. And I did enjoy Devil's Backbone. Del Toro always makes a good film. Not really what I was expecting, and the whole reason they call it The Devil's Backbone, to me, seemed kind of like a throwaway line. Like they were looking at these fetuses, and the one guy said it was a disease, the scientist that he once said, and it was called Devil's Backbone. And then, unless I completely missed out on something, but it was part ghost story, mystery. It was interesting. I enjoyed it. I'm not going to put it on a level that everybody seems to put it on, maybe I need a second view, but I liked it. I'm only going to give it a 7 out of 10, but it's a good film. I mean, it's interesting. This boy gets dropped off because he's at this orphanage type thing because there's war going on. He also has war in a lot of his movies, I noticed. And that's like a central thing with him. There's war going on, and he stays at this place because his dad is dead or at war, and they didn't want to tell him that he was dead maybe. I can't remember exactly. Like I said, it's been over the last couple of weeks. But I enjoyed the film. Like I said, maybe I'll watch it again because it seems like a lot of people have this on a higher pedestal. Or maybe not. I don't know. But 7 out of 10.
No, I think people are generally higher on that one. It's been a while since I've seen it. But I remember feeling like I would have rated it like an 8. But again, It's been a couple of years since I've seen it.
It's a good story. You know what I mean? I was engaged. I just wasn't like over the moon. I didn't say anything very special about it. But
yeah.
Whatever. Then this one, Dead and Buried from 1981. Finally. Nice. I had to watch it because they covered it on Horror Mafia and I wanted to listen. So I watched it. I enjoyed it. There was kind of a good twist at the end, like they said. And I don't remember a whole hell of a lot about it. And it's 7 out of 10. So I honestly, what I should do is read the B and read the description to get a little better of an idea of what the movie was about. Because, like I said, it's been a couple weeks. So, but you guys fans of this one?
That one is a good one. If I remember, I'm going by total memory here. Dan O'Bannon wrote the movie, and I believe Gary Sherman directed it.
Is that the 80s one with, what's his name? Or 70s?
It's like a face on the cover. It looks like it's coming out of the ground.
Is that guy, what's his name from Willy Wonka in it? Jack Albertson?
Yes, he was. He was, Grandpa Joe was in it.
It is Grandpa. It is Jack Albertson. Yeah, I like that movie. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember Grandpa Joe.
It's been a while since I've seen it too, but yeah, I remember being very high in it, probably in the 8 range, but it's been so long, but fantastic.
So long? You leaving? Thank you. Bye.
It's cool. It's a good story. It's kind of cultish, but it's good. I definitely recommend everybody check it out and go in knowing nothing is good because the reveal at the end is a little strange, but cool, and I could see how it would work. You know, it's a little, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to even compare it to anything. But I'm glad I saw it. Again, it's a 7 out of 10. So, Dead and Buried.
I saw Day of the Dead Bloodline.
Oof.
And yeah, oof is it? Because I actually made reference that I was willing to check it out. Like even the preview, which is the commercial for the movie, usually you want that thing to sell the film. And I was like, something's off here. I guess I put a lot on acting. And if the acting seems off to me and the timing of people's delivery and everything is off, it takes me out of the movie right away. And I'm very hard on movies that have this issue. And so already the movie's at like a negative because it's rubbing me the wrong way out of the gate. Add to it unoriginal story, ho-hum zombies. I mean, zombies have been done to death, so you really need something to keep you interested. And there's been some great zombie movies lately that still manage to be entertaining, fun movies, even if they're a little derivative of the genre, the subgenre. Day of the Dead Bloodline is just lazy. It's not good at all. The acting is subpar. The script is subpar. There's a couple of decent effects, but then, of course, they mix practical with CG. And CG's fine. I don't want to seem like I'm coming down on it, but when they do things like the splatter against the camera lens and say, ooh, that was cool, and then you see it 4 more times throughout the movie, that's another thing that takes me right out of the movie and makes me start hating it. So I did finish it. I did not want to finish it. Even the ending is like a slapped-on Disney Hollywood ending type feeling to an already piss-poor experience. I gave it 2.5 out of 10.
Ooh.
Wow.
Full head implosion.
Yeah, that's bottom of the year material. Holy shit. I had never again, I don't watch trailers, but I never wanted to see this movie. As soon as I heard about it, I was surprised at the amount of excitement in the horror community. After I saw the cover, the last 2 sucked. Didn't want to see it. The last 2 sucked. I didn't even see them, and I know they sucked. I don't have to watch them. It's all I've ever heard. And
no, this was way worse, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't a fan of that Steve Miner directed that other Day of the Dead one, right?
Right. There was Day of the
horrible.
Dead. Yeah, so I've heard. See, I don't watch movies that I had a feeling they would suck, and they all did apparently. So
this cover art was atrocious. I didn't want to see it based on that. I pulled a U.
It's a smart move.
But if anything, I thought maybe it had potential with the gore. That's it.
There is gore. There is gore, but it almost seems. I even said ho hum gore when I did a quick little review and someone asking if they recommend checking out the movie. I said no. Other people were like, yeah, of course there are bites and there's some blood splatter and spray, but you've seen it all before and you've seen it done way better before. You saw it way better in Dawn of the Dead, and if that didn't do it for you, you saw it better in Day of the Dead, the original.
They didn't remake it here. They didn't remake it here.
Yeah.
Well,
Flush the remake. Plug it up.
Plug it up. All right, what you got, B?
All right, my first film is a 1976 film directed by Jeff Lieberman, who did Blue Sunshine, Just Before Dawn, Satan's Little Helper, and this first-time watch called Squirm.
Oh, Squirm.
Nice.
This was, I tell you what, I avoided this from when I was a kid because that cover art just was so gross and nasty, just the head rotting into the big pool of worms. Christian, I get it now. That was one of those pauses. I totally get it. I literally had a stroke. Okay, so this takes place in Fly Creek, and a power outage and down power lines drive electricity into the ground, forcing out the worms. And all the worms come out, and now they're aggressive and hungry for human flesh. And the story revolves around a city boy and his Southern Belle girlfriend who have to figure out a way to stop this. Now, the thing that was really insane to learn about this film was that they used real worms throughout the whole film. Because there's scenes in this film where there's literally worms climbing steps. Literally. Like,
wow.
Slinky-esque?
It's not like they're climbing one by one. They're falling into the house and literally filling up the house.
Wow, gross.
And I thought it was fake. I thought it was a fake effect, but they actually used hundreds of thousands of sea worms that they flew in at a time. They would fly in like 250,000 sea worms at a time to actually drop them and use the reverse camera shot to make it look like they're going upwards, which I thought is like absolutely amazing and disgusting at the same time. Like, there's no way I could ever do this movie. It'd be like doing Kingdom of the Spiders. The 70s, man, they didn't fuck around. They did these stunts with real animals, real insects, real creatures, real whatever.
Man, that's sick.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting because I always thought of it as a really low-budget film. There were some big names attached to this film. At one point, Kim Basinger, Sylvester Stallone, Martin Sheen were all...
In 76? Wow.
Yeah.
Basinger was a fresh face. Good Lord.
They were all attached to this at some point. It's a fun film. It really is. I didn't find it overly...
Did you say Sylvester Stallone, too?
Yeah.
Instead, he did Rocky.
Yeah, instead.
Yeah.
But
Squirm or Rocky? I'll go Rocco.
He wrote fucking Rocky, too.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird that he was actually attached to this at one point?
Gotta make money.
Yeah, I mean the effects in this are really nasty, but it's a cool film. I definitely recommend checking it out. It's not gonna make my top 10. I'll say that right now. That's why I'm doing it as a triple R, but it's a solid 7 out of 10 for me.
Nice.
I
have to check it out too.
Oh, you guys never seen it?
No.
Oh, it's gross. So gross.
I bet. Sounds gross. Fucking worms. Okay. Another one, and I'm keeping it up here. I'm all the way up to, how high did I get with my alphabetical catching up thing? I think I got all the way up to H. So yeah, this movie here is a G though. This is Grizzly, and wow, I'll tell you what.
76 film, awesome.
I had more fun with it than I thought I was gonna have. I have
a good film.
Not really been a creature feature type of guy, nature rung amok and things like that, but I said, you know what? I had my daughter with me. It's PG. I said, I'll give this one a shot. We got to do it 70. So put it in there and had some fun with it. I liked the stunts they did with this freaking big bear. I mean, obviously, it wasn't as big as they were saying.
Calm down, Christian. And it's not a big gay biker he's talking about.
Sorry, I was foaming at the mouth there, huh?
But there was some cool kills in this, and some interesting. It wasn't like what you'd expect, and I learned something about these creature features, and a lot of times I avoided them. But I'm learning more that the charm of these films is that you spend a lot more time with the characters than you do in other type of horror, and if the characters work for you, you're going to enjoy the movie. And the characters worked for me. I cared about them. I enjoyed the flick. It kept me interested. There's really, I mean, I'm not saying it's an amazing film, but I enjoyed it. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out if you're into any of this stuff, Nature Rung Amok, or anything that's like it's so funny because it's a year after Jaws, and they're trying to do like what they did with Jaws, and there's even.
To me, this has the funniest kill I've ever seen in a film.
Which kill? The guy on the top of the thing?
No, the bear. The bear at the end.
Killed at the end?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He shoots that fucking bazooka from like 4 feet away from the...
Francesca was going crazy. She's like, oh, yeah. She loved it.
I laughed hysterically the first... I love it. It's great. But he's literally like 4 feet away with a fucking bazooka on his shoulder. And he shoots and the bear just explodes into like... I died laughing. I always thought that was a very funny kill.
It was cool. I enjoyed the movie. 7.5 for me. I dug it.
Nice.
I'll watch it again. Yeah, I don't think it'll make my top 10. That's why I'm talking about it now. Unless 75 is 76
a borderline contender.
76 is a worse year than I'm anticipating. Maybe it will pop up, but we'll see. But yeah, it's definitely worth your time if you haven't seen it. Grizzly
Adams. And I have another movie from this year.
Get the cock out of your mouth before you do this review.
It's a grizzly.
Grizzly is a furry cock.
And it is on Netflix, and it's called The Open House.
There it is.
2018. Another major disappointment. My wife said, hey, Christian, there's a new horror film out. Let's watch it together. And I'm like, kind of like you, Dave. When my wife says, let's watch a horror movie together, yeah, let's watch that movie. So we popped that movie on, and it started playing out, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, sorry for what? She goes, well, this is not very good. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm intrigued because I, of course, read up on it because you can't just watch a movie now. Second, I'm like, well, what was she trying to get me to watch? I went on IMDb and found out that it had a $100,000 budget. A $100,000 budget. So I'm like, well, it looks good for a $100,000 budget. There's some name actors, maybe not A-listers, but people you've seen now in a lot of films and that you'd recognize that give decent performances. And so that intrigued me, and the look of the movie intrigued me. So I was like, okay, let's see where it goes. And it really goes nowhere. There's obviously they're trying to develop a mystery about a mother and a son on troubled times without a dad, and she has to move. The dad dies, and in a rather poorly staged car crash. But again, the budget restrictions, I assume. They move into this house that the aunt has. She has all this extra money, and they move into it, and it's for sale. So they just have to make sure they're out whenever they're going to be showing open houses. That's the setup, pretty much. The movie plays out. Good. There's a lot of weirdness with the neighbor. They set up all these weird red herring style characters. None of that plays into the final
That's it. That's the problem with that film.
None of it plays into it.
It's all red herrings with no payoff.
All red herrings, no payoff. And on top of it all, the balls that it did what it did at the end, like I said, is absolute. Well, I said this in a message. So it's absolute laziness on the writer and filmmaker's part.
Yes.
Or like one late to the party stroke of genius to not explain anything and to do what they did to the leads. But because they did it, I ended up giving it 1 full point higher than what I originally would have, 4 out of 10.
Hey, that's what I gave it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's an avoid for me. Thanks, guys.
That was my first watch. Even though people were telling me to avoid it, I still wanted to see it for myself. And the setup, I enjoyed the setup. I was into it. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a cool mystery. I can't wait to see how this unravels. And then I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah. Well, it's a totally different movie.
It is. It's somebody compared it to Fender Bender. Huh. That's what it starts out as one movie and then turns into Fender Bender at the end. I'm like, fuck.
It sounds good on paper. But...
I'll check it out on Netflix. Maybe our hate of it will raise your. But I mean, it's really not trending well at all.
I've heard nothing good about it. I'm not watching it. That's how I roll. Nope. Nope. I'm happy.
Mine's also a new film, and it's called Keep Watching.
Aha! Jeremy was blowing this one.
Yeah, this one actually finished shooting in December of 2014, which right away should have been a red flag. A family becomes imprisoned in their home by intruders who force them to play a life and death game where the mysterious rules become clear as the night unfolds. That synopsis right there, which is directly from the Bee, had me intrigued. Bella Thorne's in it. She was in The Babysitter, my #1 film from last year. Chandler Riggs from Walking Dead's in it. That's cool. I'm a Walking Dead fan. I like Carl. But this one was a big letdown. It doesn't really seem that there was much of a game developed, and the characters are dispatched way too quickly without any real care from the audience. So, like, you don't really care because it just happens too quickly. The few twists they throw into this film are underwhelming, and honestly, they feel like you've seen them before. They do the home invasion setup well, but it's so grand and detailed that it's gonna have you scratching your head. I know Dave's gonna be like, "Get the fuck out of here with this," and I wish they had focused more on making this like The Collector or like Saw, because that's what it sounded like. Like, oh my god, this is a home invasion Saw, or this is The Collector, which is basically a home invasion Saw. But they didn't do that. It just turns into a home invasion, which with the twists are lazy and really you can kind of see them coming. It's kind of silly. I don't know. In the end, I'm indifferent to this film. I gave it a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm avoiding it. I'm telling you, if I hear bad things about movies.
Did Jeremy gave it a high score?
Unless I'm wrong, it sounds like a familiar. That he said he saw it a few months ago. It was playing for 3 days at some place by his house, and he went and saw it. And he was raving about it. Maybe I'm getting the titles mixed up, but I could have sworn Keep Watching was the one. But
I don't know. Yeah, it was just a tremendous letdown. The synopsis made it sound like it was going to be a completely different film, and then it just was lazy. It felt lazy.
Well, maybe I'll watch it. I don't know. Maybe that's... I'm definitely not watching Day of the Dead Bloodlines or freaking Open House. So maybe I'll give that one a day in court. I'm curious for some reason. Just because, I don't know, it sounds like it's something that maybe I won't see the twist coming. You know, that happens with me sometimes.
It's not even if you don't see the twist coming, when the twist is revealed, it's like, who cares? And then when the twist is explained, it's like, that's just so fucking stupid. Like, why?
Right.
Like, there's too much setup and not enough explanation and payoff.
Fair enough. I'll probably skip it. Okay.
2 minutes ago, I was checking it out.
Hearing more from him.
I'd be interested to hear what other people think of it, because I mean, it is a film I think people could like, and I've been pretty much hating on everything lately, so I don't want to be this negative Nancy.
Well, maybe the headites will weigh in. Yep, too late. Okay.
Take away the
negative. Nice. Okay, 1982, The Entity. Supposedly based partially on a true story, a woman is tormented and sexually molested by an invisible demon. I've known about this movie for years. I've heard that it's the movie where a ghost rapes a girl. Never got around to watching it. The long runtime was something that kept me from watching it. It's a little over 2 hours. And like I said, though, I'm watching the movies that I want to watch that I haven't seen that people seem to like. So I thought I'd check this one out. And, well, I'm glad I saw it. I saw this one. Barbara Hershey, first and foremost. So fucking sexy.
Yeah, I'd like to travel the Hershey Highway.
I was going to cover a joke, too.
The Barbara Hershey Highway.
Listen, she's still hot. She is still hot to this day. And she's, like, almost 70. Barbara Hershey is something else. But I'll tell you what. She really is. You see her in the Damien show last year?
I was still laughing at the Hershey Highway joke.
Break me off a piece of that Hershey bar.
Take the Hershey Highway. Yeah.
Was that Zelda?
Yeah, but that wasn't Zelda.
Remember Zelda?
Feel it. It makes you strong.
Listen,
I'm
good
try that
movie.
with my wife.
You feel for the character. She's a likable girl, mother of 2 or 3. Maybe either way. This ghost comes in, starts fucking shit up, starts fucking her up. She has to go, and people don't believe her, and there's a big battle between psychiatrists that she's seeing, and one who she kind of doesn't begin a relationship with, but he kind of takes an affinity to her, and they do have a relationship as people, not romantically per se, because she has a man who's away a lot, but he comes back. She tells him things that are going on. She's shy to tell him, but yes, the ghost is coming in and taking advantage of her, among other things. And her children see certain things, not that, but when it first happens, she thinks that someone's really raping her, and he ran out the door, and they can't find him, and then she travels to a friend's house, and she's at the friend's house, and her friend's husband, feels kind of weird about it. He doesn't like that she's there, and she feels like she's intruding, and there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of good character development. It's just a really enjoyable film. I definitely recommend it. It's definitely worth checking out. I'm going to come in at an 8 out of 10. Good flick. Have you guys seen it?
Yep.
It's been a long time since I've seen it.
Do you like it, C?
Yeah.
You remember?
It's great. Actually, if I'm correct, my wife had told me that, and I thought I told this on the podcast before, but that her ex-boyfriend, the guy she dated well before me, but
She regrets not marrying him?
yeah,
we've heard that
bigger
too.
cock, everything. Boy, did she downsize. No, but ultimately, his mom is supposedly the woman that this is based off of, but with name change and whatever. But who knows? I mean, because I know that if you read online, I think they have the name, and I don't think the names are the same. So I'm not entirely sure. But she says that he swore he was the one that told her, and it's not like he made up shit. That it was about her, and that happened to them way long ago. And he was a young boy at the time when it was happening, and all that shit. He remembers it all.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Brandon's face looks ridiculous right now.
Well, it's cool because
who could make up this story?
Well, why would you say?
Who would make that up?
Yeah, true.
I forgot to mention it. It was between the friends that she met, the people, the doctors who are trying to diagnose it, saying that she's imagining this, and they all have these different theories, and then she bumps into these other guys that. They do paranormal research, and then they come in the house, and then her doctor friend, her psychiatrist comes, and there's a battle with these people. You know what I mean? It's the scientists against these paranormal people, and if you believe or if you don't, and the things going on there, it's a really interesting story, man. It kept me engaged. Some of the stuff in the final showdown is a little bit, I don't want to say weak, but I don't know. It just didn't. The climax wasn't exactly what I was hoping it would be, but. Whatever. It was still a good film. 8 out of 10.
His wife said.
That's what the ghost said, when he was trying to get it on with her. Didn't get to complete. But Barbara Hershey, man, she sexy. What else we got?
I think we got one more, and it's the joint pick, and it's Victor Crowley.
Yeah,
Victor Crowley takes place 10 years after the events of the original movie, where Victor Crowley is mistakenly resurrected and proceeds to kill once more. Were you? I was a little nervous from the opening scene of this one. The minute I saw 1964, I'm like, uh-oh, they're going to start doing backstory and stuff like that. We already have the backstory on it. It's neat and concise. But, man, how refreshing I thought it was anyway. Just an opening, hilarious, just encounter between that engaged couple and then ultimately their death by Victor. I was laughing my ass off. I thought it was very funny. I thought the way he was gagging as she's crying and sobbing as he's proposing to her and his mucus running down her face. That humor just hit with me.
It was a little over the top, a little gross humor over the top.
A little bit.
However, I thought this was the closest in tone to the first movie.
Agreed.
I'll preface everything by saying this is the best follow-up so far, So
Agreed.
Hatchet and then Victor Crowley. I think
Right.
2 and 3 were all right. I think they're pretty much the exact same movie, with maybe a tad bit more story given each movie, but ultimately the same movie. I watch them. They're okay, but 1 and 4 seem to be the ones that you have to see.
I would agree with that. In fact, I think Victor Crowley might be my highest rated of the franchise.
Really?
But I am a fan of the franchise, and I've said before that I rate the first 3 within the same half a point range. So
Well, I think I had the first one higher than both of you guys on the slasher list. I gave it a 9.
Wow.
This is
yeah,
my
I never came that high.
This is my second favorite, and the other 2 are good. They're fine. They're fun to watch. They're 6.5, 7s, that type of thing.
Yep. I'm with you, except I'm at a 9 on the first one. I'm more like a 7.5.
That's exactly what I gave the first one, a 7.5.
But I give 2 and 3 like a 6.5, 7 tops.
Yeah.
You know?
This one, yeah. Well, I mean, we'll get to this one too. But obviously, I've
Right.
already blown my load. But it's a pretty simple setup. But it's all with that fucking guy again, which I
like that as the running goat, Perry
Yeah.
Shen.
Perry Shen.
That's fine.
I don't mind that
You know
running
what?
gag.
I
No,
think
no,
they
no.
fucked up that gag in part 3. They should have made him a triplet. They should have said this is the third brother instead of
Yeah.
just throwing him in there just for no reason as an ambulance driver. Like, you know what? Don't you think that would have worked better as a joke?
Yeah.
And for continuity, say, oh, well, I'm a triplet. There's 3 of us, and I made the most of myself. I'm an ambulance driver or something. You know what I mean? I think that would have worked better. But that's part 3. But here it is. This movie is, I'm agreeing, it's my second favorite. Whatever. There's part 1, and then there's this one right below it. This is,
Yep.
and I think I know why. I think that this is more contained like the first one. Like part 2 and part 3, they were out looking for Victor Crowley. It was like a group effort, and they were going out to pursue him, almost like action flick type shit, like Predator or something. Especially part 3 when they had machine guns and like a fucking army type thing. Where part 1 in Victor Crowley were people that got stranded in a situation in the boat in the first one, and in this one in a plane that goes down. And they were isolated, and it was simpler. It wasn't as bombastic as 2 and 3. It was simplified as it should be. And
Very simple.
Right?
Much
That's
more of
what-
a lower budget feel to it.
But it had characters that we care about. The dialogue was funny as hell, and there was gore galore.
Yeah, the characters were great. I thought Felissa Rose was hilarious.
Oh, she was
a standout. I honestly was. I don't want to say so surprised because she seems like she's great, but I haven't really seen her in too much more than the Sleepaway Camp stuff. So I thought she was phenomenal in this, to be honest.
Yeah, and we got Brian Quinn from Impractical Jokers was in there. He did a good job.
That's C. That's Q. I mean,
Q.
That's C though. Didn't you know that the people called him that? They said that you are the guy from Brandon is the guy from fucking what's that movie? Clerks. I'm Joe Pesci, and Christian is Q. Did you know that? They were talking about.
That's me.
Yeah, it's basically the New York version of C.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I was gonna say I thought this kind of felt a little bit like a Friday film and threw in a little bit of Friday 3 by just throwing in an extra element of drama by making Tiffany Shepis' character pregnant.
Yeah.
Right?
I think he did that on purpose because he's a Friday fanboy. And I think for sure he just said, I'm just going to have her pregnant.
Yeah.
Dude,
Best line in the movie. I'm sorry, I got to say that. Austin's dead. Dude, I'm right here. Austin's alive.
I found this very comical, this whole movie. I was really on board with the comedy in this, and the kills were fantastic.
As usual.
But oh my god, that's awesome. That's what I want.
The gore I thought the gore and effects looked a little rushed. Don't get me wrong, I liked it, but it felt a little sloppy compared to some of the ones that we've seen. I know we have aerial spray and shit going left and center. Something seemed a little off, like a little choppy or not quite as polished. Maybe it was a lower budget. I don't know. When I saw the first one, my mouth dropped on the gore and the people getting their mouths ripped open. The guy ripped in half.
That was the best kill.
Also, it was just craziness, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And then 2 and 3, really, I blend them together. They both seem like the same movie to me. But there's a lot of great kills throughout those movies as well. As there are in this one just felt a little rushed, a little bit more sloppy with the deaths.
A little bit repetitive. It's things that we've seen before, but there were some good, like the first kill with the couple. Remember when? See, I didn't like the spraying blood. I don't like when they do that. And there's some things I didn't like them when the fingers came off. But when he hacked the limbs, when it was a torso, that looked great. That looked like some shit from '70s horror. I fucking loved it.
You know what? Another thing, when the guy's killed at the beginning, it's like the eye pop almost from Friday 3. Is that 3? Is that 3?
Yeah, it is.
The head squeeze with the eye.
Uh-huh.
He takes his eye out, and it almost looks like a fake effect. It almost looks fake for a sec, but I liked it. I immediately thought of Friday 3, and then when they threw in the pregnancy later on, I was like, Jesus. I like the hacked up limbs.
It was good. There was a couple good. But here's the thing.
Melissa Rose's kill was great.
That's true. The thing is about this whole series, every one of these movies, I don't understand, and that's why they're not. That's why I can't give part 1 a 9 or something. The thing about the kills is, there are some excellent kills, right? But then you'll catch like 3 kills in the film where they cut away, and when they don't cut away, you just see the freaking the Kill Bill freaking cut the head off and the blood spraying. To me, why have those cutaways and kills like that? Why not make every kill like that instead of having?
That's probably budgetary.
Yeah, but I understand. Why not, instead of having 2 amazing kills and 3 cutaways, why not just have 5 great kills?
Well, one of the cutaways was actually you get a cool injury where you get to see it up front, where the woman's jaw is like broken, like her face is smashed, and then it does the cutaway before the head is chopped off. But I thought in general they did a good job.
Yeah, but that's one thing about this whole series, that they have those things, and you just see blood hit a tree or blood hit a window of a cabin instead of seeing the actual. That's the one complaint I have about the series that holds it back for me. But again, really good movie. That stuff about Tiffany Shepis, that fucked me up because that shit scares me. When she was in there with the water rising,
hell yeah,
that hit home with me. I was just like, that. I can't imagine being in a position like that. That's just fucking and that's something else you don't see in other Hatchet movies. You don't see suspense like that where someone has a long death or a long threat of death, I should say. Where there's suspense and it's always quick kills.
This had the best group of characters that I was cheering for. I actually cared about these characters.
Yeah, the Daniel Harris knockoff.
Next to part 1. Part 1 still to me had the triumphant batch of characters.
I agree.
And this was the next best one, and that's why I think it's is successful. Sloppy gore or not, that's my thing. The kills and the way he did it, and the isolated plane setting, and the fact that you care about these people are what make this one a home run. Now the ghost factor, so they kind of got the the 3 magic words that you have to say to bring him back. It's fine. I would have liked a bit more of a triumphant return for Victor Crowley, but I guess because they're going with the ghost motif, that they say you hear the cries, the roars, and then he manifests himself and pops up and he's back. But
yeah, I got confused for a sec because I thought that the curse brought the plane down.
What?
But it didn't. The plane crashed by accident, and then the curse happens like after that.
Because of the phone with the information.
Yeah, the phone with the voodoo curse being played on it. But that actually plays the curse after the plane crashes, because it's when they run to help, and they pan back to the phone, and it's what's his name? What was Tony Todd's character in it?
Oh, that part was cool. That quick little cameo. Yeah, Reverend Zombie.
Yeah, it was him saying the curse correctly, and resurrecting Victor.
Oh yeah, all those YouTube videos and all that shit.
But it was him saying it correctly that resurrected him.
I didn't even think that happened.
We're all over the place as usual with our reviews, but it's just, again, it's a new movie.
Yeah.
So we won't want to give too much away, but from a setup standpoint, it's following the dude on his 10-year anniversary, the survivor, the ambulance driver survivor, Andrew, doing a book tour, which I thought was great. The guy with the balls and the cock and the balls sign this. Laser
I hear you had a cock double.
That was funny.
That was a cock double.
I hope so. That fucking acorn.
And then then they go, somehow gets convinced to go to do a documentary or whatever it may be, a talk show down there, and they're on the plane and it crashes. Meanwhile, people that were at the book signing are also doing a documentary, trying to film a fake trailer for a movie
a mock trailer for Hatchet Face.
And so they're there, they're trying to get him to join forces, and they're not. They end up setting them up So the filmmakers are kind of set up initially, because I'm all over here with my description as well. So you kind of think she's going to be a final girl, but that's not the case at all.
Yeah,
Instantly, I was shocked. I was like, oh, awesome.
Yeah, they really fuck around with the setup, and I liked that.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
I did too.
The-
And you get a great jump scare in this one.
Yep. The return.
The return was a great jump scare. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
that was good. And he looked better. I think he looked good. He looked more human in this one than he has in the last couple. Victor Crowley himself.
Hey, I kind of made some jokes about that, and then you were making fun of me. Did you look
I
more
was.
like Jason 2 in this one?
Well, there you go. That's fine. He looks more like Jason too. Good, as he should. And my favorite line was, "I don't care that you have a dick." That was fucking hysterical.
Isn't that hilarious that wasn't to Felissa Rose's character, yet she's in the movie with that joke in it?
Maybe that's
But
why.
the character's name was Rose. And
Was it?
Felissa's last name is Rose.
Really?
What?
Wow. Do you think that girl looked like Danielle Harris on purpose? She was kind of like a Danielle Harris knockoff, the other girl. Not talking about?
Yeah, Rose's character. I liked her.
Yeah.
She was a surprising character because I was like immediately thinking this is the first girl to go.
Right, that's
But
true.
then she gets some substance as the movie moves on. It's
Did
a
you see
fast moving movie.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's like another, like they're all like an
Perfect.
hour and 20
Boom.
minutes, an hour and 23 minutes, whatever. Did you see the post-credit sequence? I think it was after.
Loved it.
Yes,
Loved it.
I
Got me
did.
very excited. It was like a Curse of Chucky post credit.
Yeah.
True.
yes.
True.
And I said to myself after, I'm like, perfect. Bring it back. Wrap it up with one more film. JP had said to me that, I guess when he went to the screening, that if Victor Crowley does well, it would be the start of a new trilogy.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
But
I'm happy with the ending now, honestly.
I would certainly be happy with just one more movie to wrap it up. But if they do two, if they do it right, keep making them.
Yeah, if they do it right.
I have a feeling this one, again, I like the way how he toured it at festivals and one-night screenings and whatnot. I guess not festivals, but one-night screenings, special screenings. Excuse me. And then now it's released VOD, and I'm assuming this is going to pop up on Shudder or maybe even Netflix, because Netflix has, I think they have one of them. Prime has one or two of them as well.
They bounce around a lot, all of them, actually. They come and they go. I've seen them on Prime, Netflix, even Hulu, I think, at one time or
Yeah, it
another.
comes out on Blu-ray on Tuesday.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
Cool.
this Tuesday.
Do you guys realize the beginning of the film, when they had that little girl telling that story about Victor Crowley? That's the original trailer for the original Hatchet. Have you guys ever seen that original trailer?
There was a boy named Victor Crowley.
You know, it's a little girl and she's telling the story.
Was it Zelda?
Yeah, that was a bad, I know.
Okay.
That did sound a little Zelda-ish. But you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, The Legend of.
Well, listen.
The Missing Link?
No, I'll always remember this because long before Hatchet came out, well, not long, but a year before it came out, the trailer came up on their website. And it was hatchetmovie.com or whatever. And that trailer was on there, and it was the way they were marketing it, and they said old school American horrors, and they told the story. It looked to have no humor at all. It fucking looked genuinely scary. And she told the story about, there was, this little girl telling the story. These boys came, and he was a deformed boy, and they showed a picture of him, like of a young deformed boy, which was disturbing looking. And then they showed some things, and these mean kids came, and this happened, and his father, and that she told the story, right? And that I'll never forget that website, because then they played that scary ass fucking trailer, and then at the end, you just hear rain in the background, and you hear like a ghostly noise like calling off in the distance, and it was just an eerie fucking scary thing that spooked me out. Dude, it seriously, it spooked me out. I was like, this is gonna be fucking scary. Then Hatchet came out, and I was like, what the fuck? This is an old school horror. It's comical. So I was initially let down, but that's neither here nor there. But they used that exact same girl's voice to intro Victor Crowley to talk about the legend, except they added one little thing about it being a supernatural ghost or something like that. They threw it in there so you knew that it was a ghostly thing and not, because it was mysterious the first time, No, they said it was a curse, and she said something about a slave woman or something. Which makes no sense because that woman wasn't a slave. Remember when Victor Crowley, not Victor, his father hooked up with that girl that was taking care of his mother, and they cheated. Remember they had that, and a voodoo curse was placed on them.
Yeah.
They mentioned a voodoo curse, and they mentioned something about a slave, and they didn't mention any of that in the original, where they just kind of twisted the words around. So I thought that part was weird, but They mentioned the curse this time around, but it was the same thing you saw in the original Victor Crowley, the original Hatchet trailer from back in the day. But it was cool. So
I
anyway,
remember that long ago.
oh man, I remember that because it scared me. I was like, this is going to be a scary, kick-ass fucking movie. And then I still enjoyed it, but it wasn't what I was, See, that's why I don't watch trailers anymore. See, people always complain. I saw the trailer. This wasn't what I was expecting. Back to that.
Got bamboozled.
Yeah, man. But yeah, good flick, right? I mean, another Hatchet film.
Half-Head Explosion for me. It's my favorite new film of 2018 so far. Granted, I've only seen 4 horror films.
I've only seen 2, and I like them both.
Yeah, and based on where we said that the criteria for a full head explosion kicks in, I'll have to say it's a half head explosion as well.
Right. That looks like we're all in the same boat. 3 half heads. Nice. All right. So I got a couple drawings to do, and then boom. And then Carrie. Not boom, but Carrie.
Boom.
While Brandon's pulling up the thing, I'll just...
Doing the math.
Pulling up
doing
one
the
thing.
math.
I have the generator out. I'm ready to go.
Okay. Well, we're doing 2 drawings tonight.
Yes,
One
we are.
is... Go ahead. What?
No, go ahead. I was saying yes, we are.
Oh, okay. One is involving everybody on Patreon and everyone that's left us a YouTube, yeah. An iTunes.
That's what I said earlier. YouTube.
Good God. So, guys, please do that. Please go on iTunes and give us a written review, because you get it on the drawings. We have 84 or 86 from the U.S. right now. We really want to get into triple digits. Please get us to 100, man, because then we move up a level on iTunes and we're even more noticeable. So, and you get it on drawings like this. And Patreon, we'll talk more about them in a minute, but this is, we have 67 written in the United States, and we have 14 from other countries. And everybody is included in this drawing. And what is this drawing for?
This is for a signed Devil's Candy poster that I got signed last year at the convention by Ethan Embry himself.
Nice.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah, I had bigger plans for that. He even told me to contact him to come on the show and talk about the film. I really dropped the ball on that one. We could have had him on on the year-end show for
100%.
popped him in for a 15-minute interview when we did Devil's Candy.
Like you fucked that up. You fucked up.
Yeah, I fucked up.
Just kidding.
No, I fucked up.
So that's a total of 81 people that are.
I have the 81 in here, and I'm going to hit the generate button.
Oh, wait a minute. Time out. This includes the Patreon people, correct?
Yes.
Well, hold on. The
Oh, there's
81
more.
is just the iTunes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, see, we thought we prepared. We fucked up a little bit. Okay, hold on. Shit. Damn it.
So what's 81 times...
23. 81 plus 23. 94? Or no, 104. 104.
Nice.
So 104 people are on here, some more than once because they are Patreon members and they've left us an iTunes review. So, here it is, B.
Yeah.
Random generator.
I have the random generator. How many times do you want me to generate a number?
3 is the magic number.
3? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Number 39.
Number 39. Okay. Just give me 1 second here. Well, a little more than 1
We
second.
probably should have numbered them as well.
That's a lot of work to number every freaking...
We should hire somebody to do that.
Okay.
And the winner is...
And the winner is First Class from Glass Needles.
What? I don't ship to Glass Needles.
Oh, Glass Needles, get a hold of us. It says, this is the top-notch horror movie podcast. I've checked out quite a few horror podcasts over the years, and the guys at Exploding Heads have it all. They're funny, incredibly likable, and best of all, they're not pretentious, as some podcast hosts can be. They're great at what they do and have introduced me to some hidden gems in the genre. Keep it up, y'all. So there you go.
I like
Mr.
that
Glass.
review.
I like this guy.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you. Mr.
Yeah.
Glass Needles, get a hold of us any way you can. Email us, message us on Facebook, whatever you got to do.
Awesome.
So there you go. Excellent. And Exploding Heads, horrorpodcast@gmail.com.
I'm glad I got him to sign Dear Glass Needles.
Nice. Good old glass needles. Nice. And yes, that includes people from other countries. We will send it to other countries. We will send what we have, and it all comes out of our own pockets. Every prize that we give comes out of our own pockets.
Even to the land of the finish.
That's right. This is just... Oh, hold on.
23? Just the patrons?
Thank God we're keeping this to a 2.5-hour show.
All your fault. You didn't record the first half hour, then you had to leave for an hour.
Yeah. This is why this is going on long.
Whoever gets this gets to pick a triple R for us to watch. So anyone that is on the dollar gets 1, and anyone that has $3 gets 3 entries. So that's all. It's quite simple. So we have the number between 1 and 37.
All right,
Generate.
let's do it.
Generate.
1 and 37, generating 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and the winner is number 18. Perfect. We got to listen to Dave count to the middle again.
Number 8? No, not at all. It's easy. Number 18.
18. Yeah.
Charlene.
Hey!
Nice.
Disqualified.
Shout out to Charlene. Disqualified.
Yeah.
Very happy.
We didn't say
No
we
French-
the French.
No French films. French.
French.
That's his favorite salad dressing. Give me some French dressing.
You know that that
It's
C
French and
wants the
ranch
French.
mixed together.
You know C wants the French films. That's for damn sure. Good God. And while we're at it, Patreon, we have a few new people that we want to throw on there. We have Headite for Life. We have Biohazard Babies. We have Larry. And we have Ryan Pascal, who actually, the first month, he was, what do you call it? Headite for Life, $3. And he just bumped up to, now that's horror, which is $6. So
Nice.
we still left him in the $3 drawing because he was there for a few weeks. Then he bumped up, and he wants us to do a triple R, and I've already spoken to him, and we are going to do a triple R for The Haunting on our next show, the original Haunting.
Nice.
So, yeah. So there you have it.
Awesome. Thank
And-
you.
Yeah,
And let
awesome,
that be
huh?
an example to the rest of you Patreons. It might be time to bump up to that next level.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Or a level.
Well, Christine, who was on our show, Christine Straw, has also bumped up to
Holy
I forgot
shit.
what it's called, to the next level. Yeah. She
Thank
was
you,
at
Christine.
Yeah, she's great. She was at because she was on the show before, so she was at the Cracking Wise level, and she moved up 1 level, which is I forgot
Top of the
name.
mops.
It's top notch, close enough. Not top of the mops. It's
It
top
is top
notch.
notch. Okay.
So she gets to choose a trilogy or a franchise up to 6 films. So there you have it. So she will do that in time. And yes, guys, get on the Patreon. We got a lot going on there. Like we say, all the shows. $1 gives you all access. So bonus material, drawings, and other stuff. And that is patreon.com/explodingheads. Get on there, man. Lots of good stuff on there. Check us out. That's it. Prizes for everybody. Prizes and movies for us to watch. That's what it's all about.
Ilsius.
Yeah. Okay. So we got one more review to do.
Let's
And
wrap
then-
this up by plugging it up.
Yeah. Wrap it up by plugging it up. Yep. We're going to talk about, at last, we are going to talk about Carrie.
Carrie, 1976, directed by Brian De Palma. Screenplay written by Lawrence Cohn. Novel written by Stephen King. Carrie White, a shy, friendless teenage girl who is sheltered by her domineering religious mother, unleashes her telekinetic powers after being humiliated by her classmates at her senior prom.
Well, watching this movie, honestly, I felt like Brandon for a week because I just saw penises everywhere. There's a lot of penis motif in this.
Penis. I was
There's
seeing plenty
penis.
of tits.
Well, there's
Yeah, we're
that
seeing a lot
too.
of tits.
It opens up, and I thought I was crazy, so I showed Carrie this. My wife, Carrie, spelled differently, but Carrie, who said this movie lost her a lot of babysitting jobs because of she just hear the name Carrie, and then no one wanted to hire her. I said that's a bullshit story. She's like, no, it's true. Anyway, it's my wife for you.
She should have gone by Cassie.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, what the fuck is up with that? Because I think they push it a little bit too. Listen, I adore this movie, adore it, and you're gonna hear it. Yeah, but this guy was told 5 times that her name was Carrie. It shouldn't have been said once. Twice he said Cassie, and the girl, the gym teacher, said it's Carrie. 5 fucking times.
It's worse than the 2002 version.
There are people like this. I had this in school a lot.
What they call you, Brendan?
No, they would call me my brother's name. And it got to the point where I would actually just start to answer as him. I do that now a lot when people bring up my name and say it wrong. People will call me Brendan. I've had someone call me Dave, and I've spoken to this person as Dave.
Nice.
Just because you get to a point where it's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm Dave.
I'd rather have Dave as a son. No, all joking aside, I was like, am I sick here? Am I just now visualizing penises left, right, and center? Like I said, a week in your life. We open up on that fucking volleyball court, and it looks like a big fucking dick.
Well, it's the basketball. It's the basketball court that they're on playing volleyball. So it's the.
Doesn't matter. The framing of it makes it look like it's a big penis. Then you cut into the shower scene, and the shower nozzle looks like a little steel dick. And then I think these are subtle. Okay, I call me crazy.
No, I don't think you're crazy, but I think it's funny that you're spotting all these dicks.
I'm spotting a lot of I'm pulling dicks out left, right, and center. But
spotted dick.
Yeah.
Isn't that something you eat? Spotted dick? Isn't it like a sandwich or a bread? No, it's true. Spotted dick. It's like a thing in the UK.
I never know. I don't care about that spotted fucking dick. I noticed the faucet before. I've noticed that for years, and I've always said that looks weird. And I know De Palma has put it in there for a reason. But the tennis court or the volleyball court, the basketball court, the way it's framed, the way it's outlined and whatever, yes, I understand it, but it does look like a big yellow dick. And there's the imagery throughout, lots of sexual imagery that De Palma's playing around with. A lot of people think he overdoes it, but I love how he plays with drama and melodrama and drag scenes out. This has one of my all-time favorite sequences in it, and I'm not just saying the showpiece of the prom, but I'm talking about how he actually builds suspense and tension to the lead up, the way the shots are orchestrated, the way that everything is really filmed in slow-mo, and he plays with the close-ups, the licking of the lips, the anticipation of the almost too drawn out, but it works, and it's actually the showpiece for this movie.
That's absolutely the best part of this film, and a lot of people say they do that intentionally to lengthen the film because nothing really happens, but I think that's the best part of the film. That in conjunction with the soundtrack and the score, oh my God, it's beautiful and haunting at the same time.
Which we said last week, Dave, I gave it to you, or last episode, Dave, I gave it to you. I didn't have this one on my list, and because I always just thought of the main theme, but once you get in there, into the movie, it's fantastic. It is really fantastic. The Bernard Herrmann psycho riffs are a little, I know it was a nod, but it was an outright ripoff. Yeah. It was literally,
Well, yeah, but only that one part it did it many times in a row. But the other times they were just a quick one. You know, with Creepy Carrie, it was a quick one. The only time it did it, you know, where it sounded exactly like shower scene type, it was when all the window was closed in her house. But De Palma was doing Hitchcock, so naturally.
Hitchcock, another penis motif.
Oh fuck! So penis, another one.
Penile Donaggio.
Penile.
The first there was intercourse. And all I was thinking the whole time was that's another first Braden hasn't experienced.
And he was doing Bernard Herrmann, so it's psycho shit. It's
Bernard Herrmann. He wanted to score the film,
right? And
did unfortunately, he died. He died before the film.
That was news to me. I didn't know Bernard Herrmann was involved.
Yeah, he originally wanted Bernard Herrmann.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah, and Bernard Herrmann died in 1975, and this was right when he was about to start making the film.
Wow.
That's why he uses the psycho. They even, I mean, the name of the school is what, Bates? You hear the cheerleaders cheering Bates?
Right.
Yeah,
Bates is obvious. Yeah. Bates School. Bates fucking. What was that place called? Farm?
Masturbate? Another penis thing?
Bates Packing. That's what it was.
Bates Fudge Pack?
Not fudge. Right.
Okay, so because a lot of people
Hershey Highway.
A lot of people think the movie starts in the shower, but of course you have the volleyball scene. You eat shit,
which is great. Yeah, eat shit. Yeah, you eat shit.
Yeah,
I was surprised to learn that the PJ Souls scene where she hits her over the head with her hat was actually what got her a bigger part in the film.
It was the hat that got her a part at all. Did you?
Yes,
know that?
but her hitting Carrie over the head with it got her a bigger part in the film because she was only supposed to really shoot for I think 2 weeks, but they wound up keeping her around even longer because they liked that improv that she did.
Oh, I didn't know that she improv the hat.
Yeah.
Because I know that they told her to come back because when she interviewed, she brought the hat, and he said, "We're going to hire you. Make sure you bring the hat back." And then she's like, "You want the hat?" They're like, "Yeah." So maybe that's why. So she said, "Well, since they want me back with the hat, maybe I'll be creative with it." And there you go. Maybe I get the feeling that maybe the other girl with the dark hair, who they said her name before they said Norma, which is PG Soul's character. You know the dark-haired girl, pretty with the straight hair? They said her name first, and it seems like she was hanging out with Chris Hargensen a little bit in the beginning. Maybe that she was going to be featured more, but ultimately pulled back. You know what I'm talking about or no?
Yeah.
No, the girl? Okay. I forget her name, but they said it early in the film.
Yeah.
But
I don't remember.
Maybe that hat did it all. Did the trick. But I'll tell you what, all about the end, I think there's not much better, pardon me, but I think there's, to say nothing happens, there's the shower scene is pretty intense. The lead up, everything about the way, even the opening shot with the volleyball, when they're playing, how good it looks, and how apparently the penis cord, how apparently it took a day to film that because they couldn't find the girls the right people to knock the balls over the net and shit, you know?
Hey, balls.
Yeah, balls. But the opening scene, which, by the way, haunted me when I was a kid, because when I saw it when I was a kid, and I think I may have mentioned it here before, and I'm sorry if I did, but when I saw that scene the very first time, being a child, I could not understand why she was bleeding. I thought that this girl had something terrible happen to her. And when I was a kid, I was a hypochondriac. I was always afraid of bad shit happening to me in public especially. And when I saw this girl bleeding and all these people and all these girls in her class teasing her while she's fucking maybe bleeding to death, that hit me hard, and it disturbed me in a way that no other movie has disturbed me. Like, I remember being a kid seeing that. Go, why would
this
they
is when
do
you saw it, just like 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah, dude, it spooked me. That scene's incredible, man.
It's a fantastic scene. Well, like you're turning a fantasy into a nightmare in a sense, because of the way it's done. It's with that dreamlike filter, and then you've got it's slow pan. You've got 70s bush. Let's just call it what it is. Like, that's when a bush was a bush.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it was.
We got
Amen.
it.
That's when a meal was a meal.
Nudity and kind of exploitative, and then all of a sudden we focused on her and this real long, lingering close-ups of her washing herself and various body parts, and then all of a sudden that blood just drips down. Oh, beautiful.
Man. Yeah,
so beautiful.
Done so well. All that stuff is, and the stuff with her mother, and I mean, everything about this film.
The mom is absolutely crucial, and one of the other creepiest aspects of this film, her delivery of the line that I jokingly said earlier, and then pretty much all of her dialogue. She said she didn't realize it was a satire, so she thought
it was a black comedy. She was laughing in between takes. She thought it was so ridiculous, her delivery.
But it saved it worked. It saved the film.
It's crucial, and I love the fact that I read that every Bible passage that she's shouting out during the film is nothing from the Bible. That makes it even more creepy. I mean,
wow. It's just
none of it's accurate.
It's her own twisted interpretation, which basically is her whole entire story. The way she interprets everything is completely wrong.
These are godless times. I'll drink to that.
That's great.
How about this? Here's what I don't understand about this film. how come she got mad when the woman offered her donations?
Because she was not interested in hearing the preaching or anything else. She knew she was getting, here's your money.
Exactly.
Get out of my house. And so she was being friendly, but then she just said, okay, well, I'll take your money. But that offended her.
But yeah, but wasn't she doesn't she do that for a living? Isn't that how she makes her money? Those door-to-door sales?
Yeah, but she wants people to actually
She's more conservative.
Word.
Yeah, getting people into her cult.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Cult of Carrie. Creepy cult of Carrie.
Sequel. She also studies at the same school of acting as Betsy Palmer, and
really?
actually well, no, I make it up, but does real slaps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not just her, the gym teacher too.
Yeah.
Miss what's her name? That's the only name I'm not gonna remember.
Miss Collins.
Miss Collins. She slapped fucking Nancy Allen, who's so hot. Actually, all the girls in this movie are so fucking hot.
Yeah. That was Betty Buckley who played
Betty Buckley. Yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't want to, but De Palma asked for it.
29 times.
29, yeah.
9 fucking times.
We all watched these special features, apparently.
Right. Yeah. She slapped the shit out of this poor girl. Could you imagine? Fucking 29 slaps in the face. Man.
I love the fact that, Miss Collins from the very get-go is like portrayed as the really nice character, but you kind of get a picture that she's really not, especially in the principal's office when she's like, I didn't understand either. I just want to grab her and shake her. I mean, it's just a period. Like she was almost as fed up as the kids were at Carrie from the very start.
That makes sense though, because a girl by that age should know what a period is, and the fact that she was the way she reacted, she was so dramatic, Carrie.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I guess in retrospect you understand, because if she was like me. She thought maybe she's dying. Yeah, you know what I mean?
She even says, "Why didn't you tell me, Mama?"
I think she was mad at herself that she got mad, and when you are mad and you're reliving that experience, but you're mad at yourself, so you're talking out like, I really wanted to shake her, but like I think that was her just reliving the moment, and I don't know like if she's a really bad person. I love the shot with the blood on her high shorts, her white shorts, and you can see the principal notices that there's blood on it, and he's a little disturbed by that as well. Little nuances like that.
I never noticed that till this time.
Yeah.
How about that? Yeah.
But the Miss Collins thing, getting back to it, another pivotal scene that made me question her integrity was when she's questioning Sue and Tommy.
Well, that makes sense, because you would think it was a joke. And she says it. Carrie's not stupid, and neither am I. Why would you all of a sudden, these two popular kids, you're going to ask her to the fucking prom, Mr. freaking good-looking star, you're going to take, I know what you guys are doing. Carrie just got her and her friends in trouble. This is revenge. She's no dummy. I thought she was great for doing that.
Yeah, even after they say, though, that they're not doing anything bad, they want to genuinely do this and be nice, she's still defensive in the sense that there's no way people will believe this.
Well, can you blame her? I would think.
I didn't like that.
How do you not like it? She's trying to defend her.
Yeah.
Haven't you been at school and gone to school and see how it works?
I've never been to school.
A girl like this is, and she even fucking says it. She goes, "Don't you think you're gonna look a little ridiculous walking in the prom with Carrie White on your arm?" She's no fucking dummy. This girl is freaking a big loser. And this guy is a big man on campus. That doesn't happen. Come on, man. When does that happen? That would never, ever, ever happen in school.
Actually, it happens all the time now, believe it or not. I feel like this thing now is like what set off a trend that's been happening over the last decade or so.
It just
especially with social media. You see these videos all the time.
Oh, because they're doing it for fucking attention.
Oh yeah, the popular student who asks out the ugly girl or, the less fortunate.
Right. So they could be fucking, worshipped even more for being a saint. It's bullshit. That's different though. Social media. That's back to tragedy girls. You know what I mean? It's the same type of shit. No, I completely loved her character. I love that she stood up to those fucking girls. I really do. And that she gave them tough ass attention. And she didn't fucking back down. I loved it, man.
Well, it's everything. Is it the catalyst for the next scene, which is a good script? Like the tension creates the animosity and the further sort of bitching from Nancy Allen's. Why am I forgetting all the names? Also, Chris's character,
Harrington.
and then so she gets all pissy, and then that's what leads to her going out to get the pig's blood and talking with John Travolta's cock in her mouth without saying a word and being totally
Get her done.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did say. I didn't think there was an expression back in '76, but apparently it was. Yeah, they were great together. They were like almost like comic relief. He was fucking great, Travolta, in this movie. He was funny, unintentionally, and I think, but
Good
it worked
screen
out.
presence, no, and you could tell that was because it was his first movie as well. It worked for him and for the film. One comic part that always feels like a fish out of water for me in the movie is when the shopping for tuxedos. It's there. I know why it's there. And there's some good banter going on back and forth, and it kind of works. But then all of a sudden, I guess Brian De Palma wanted to say, okay, like this is just mindless chit chat going on. So he speeds it up for like that 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It seems like it was a glitch, but it was almost like, why didn't they just cut it instead?
No, I like it. That's when the music changes too. When the music changes, it becomes more upbeat, and then you get that montage of them going for tuxes, Carrie's going for makeup and stuff. It's right after she puts her foot down with her mother.
I understand the montage part, but that whole cycle that happens within the montage, does it not?
No, she puts the foot down, then they go to the montage next. Things are going to change around here.
Yeah.
And then, like, the next scene or the scene after the next scene is...
I'm just saying that particular segment of the guys talking about the tuxes is bizarre. And to cap it, it's like De Palma's like, oh, they're going on too long, and this will be funnier if we speed it up. So he speeds it up, and I just feel it just seems weird.
Yes, because it's only one sentence that he speeds up. If he would have sped up a little bit of dialogue from each of the three characters, it might have made a little more sense. But he just sped up one line because he thought that it slowed down the film.
Such a weird moment. But
yes,
does it knock down the movie for me? Nope. But it's a weird moment.
I feel like that moment right there just completely sheds the light on Tommy as this really good guy who's genuinely doing this out of the kindness of his heart. Because even he isn't really sure why he's doing it. And look, I love the fact that this is what they came up with, because this is such a high school thing. It doesn't quite make sense. It could backfire. In that sense, I get why the teacher is protective, why Miss Collins is protective of Carrie. Still don't like the way she handled it. Like, oh, nobody will believe it, blah, blah, blah. You know, I still felt that was too much, but I get it in that sense. But even Tommy was kind of like not saying anything because he was picturing that it would be ridiculous in his head. Yeah. But at that point, shopping for the tux, he's committed to this. He's genuinely going to do this because he cares for Sue. And he cares for Carrie because she liked his poem. She complimented his poem. Something that simple. Even though it wasn't his poem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. And I'll tell you one thing. Speaking of strange scenes, I noticed something the first time here. And I don't know if it's... Maybe you guys can help me out. But... remember the first time she comes home and she gets thrown into the closet, that whole thing after she has her period. And then she comes out of the closet and she goes upstairs and she's mad and she looks in her mirror in her bedroom and the fucking glass shatters.
And then it gets put back together in like 4 pieces?
Yes, it explodes. I rewound it to make sure. I thought maybe it's me. It explodes.
No, I rewound it.
Then a minute later, her mother comes upstairs, and it's back together, and it's just cracked. That's weird, and I'd never noticed that before. Was that a mistake?
It's back. It's probably a slight mistake because it's back together in like 4 pieces. But I love the way. I think it is a little bit of a mistake, but I love the fact that you see the reflection of Jesus in the mirror.
I didn't notice that.
Before and after. So you see a whole picture of Jesus. Everything is good, and then when you come up, you see the fractured picture.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a mistake. I just think it was okay. Well, that mirror really exploded, and now she telekinetically put it back together. Holy! And then that's how they explained it. But it was only
okay.
So it wasn't just cracked. Like it was like she put it back. But yes, in 4 pieces or 5 pieces.
But I knew what Dave was talking about because it shattered like into like a million pieces, and then it's like put back like a giant jigsaw puzzle.
Okay, and I was going to say that as my next question. I was going to say, was maybe the implication that she's that powerful that she just and put them all back together in one shot. Which okay,
if she broke it all in one, maybe her emotion was able to, because it was all supposed to be about her emotion, her emotional state that was triggering these coming of age. A coming of age telekinesis.
I like the changes that the movie did from the book, that they don't have flashback scenes of Carrie doing what she did in I believe she did it in the other version as a child.
In the meteor storms and everything?
Yeah. I like the fact that this is the first time her mother, Margaret, finds out.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. You know what? That does actually work. You're right. Because, it's the first time she finds out. So it does work. I never thought about it from that perspective. But you're right. Yeah. They did that. That's one. And that was an accident because they wanted to make the little meteors come in the beginning. And they said that when they filmed it, it didn't look right. So they ended up taking that scene out completely with the dirty pillows, with the girl next door, and that whole conversation, and the meteors coming in the house. And they said that the meteors ended up looking like rain. So they cut it because they used a miniature house. So it ended up being for the best because I think it is better that she sees it that way. And by the way, that thing, that fucking scary ass
creepy Jesus
statue. Yes, is that Jesus?
No,
that's okay. Yeah,
Saint Sebastian.
Thank you. I did because that isn't how Jesus was crucified. He only had one arm up and one down, and Jesus didn't have spears in him. He got poked.
Those are arrows. It's Saint Sebastian. Yeah. I read about it, but I can't remember. But if anyone's interested, you just look up Saint Sebastian. He was a martyr in the early years of man.
Did he have glowing eyes?
That was fucking creepy though.
Dude, that should always fucking creep me out. And Margaret at the end. That had to be intentional with her looking just like that thing. It's fucking scary.
Not only that, I love that her look and her actions as she's dying is orgasmic, is like so sexual and stuff.
She's getting what she wanted.
Exactly, and it's just oh my god, it's the ultimate.
And that was her call.
Yeah.
She told De Palma she's gonna play it that way, and he said, "Go ahead." And
fantastic.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Dude. The performances. This is one of these films where
everybody's part is important and everybody plays it well.
Yes, lightning in a bottle.
Caught everything. Yeah. The filming, the score, the performances, everything just comes together in that. Mwah!
Yeah, dude, nearly perfect.
How about those split focus diopter shots?
I
always like that. No, De Palma always did that. See, I'm a huge De Palma fan. Huge De Palma fan.
I figured you'd appreciate that because I didn't know. Charlene and I were talking earlier, and she actually brought it up, and I was like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "Oh yeah," and I had no idea what she was talking about in terms of what they're called, and she looked them up and told me, and then I looked it up, and I'm like, "Oh yeah," I never appreciated stuff like that, and now you look at it and like, wow, it's brilliant. Especially, I love the one with Tommy and Carrie in the background in the classroom.
Oh, yeah, the close-up in her. And dude, great stuff. This movie's shot so well. I mean, there's just so much. There's some epic shots towards the end with her walking in the fire behind her when shit hits the fan. That's fucking brilliant, man.
It's so dreamlike when she comes out of the gymnasium.
Yes.
It's so... did they slow that down? I love the way the fire kind of looks fake and dreamlike, and the way she walks out and, like, the doors open up.
Oh,
it's
there's a lot of dreamlike imagery. Well, he loves playing with time and everything. And
I love it.
That anticipation. I know. We talked about it. I already blew my load on it. That scene alone is so masterfully done. I know I'm sounding like a repetitive ass right now, but it needs to be said at how well done that scene is from an editing standpoint.
It's so brilliant because it's so close to Carrie finally having it all, and it's just so tragic because after she breaks, obviously she's seeing everything bad. These people aren't really laughing. This isn't really happening. She's just she's broke.
At you, which is fucking haunting.
I'll tell you what, when I was younger, the first time I saw it, I was like, why is the teacher laughing at her? It took me until I was older and I understood what was really going on, that, they're not really laughing at her.
No, just Norma. PJ Soul.
Her reaction there.
Yeah, Norma. Yeah.
Her reaction there is horror icon, picturesque perfection.
That's the cover art that freaked me out as a kid.
Fucking beautiful.
I love it. That side-by-side picture of her
specifically
with the blood, without the blood.
Yeah.
Sissy Spacek's in a fucking zone, dude. She's amazing. Yes.
You know, they said that she was auditioning for another part. They basically like played musical chairs with these roles.
Well,
like originally, Sue was supposed to maybe be Carrie. Sissy Spacek wanted to be Chris. Like they basically just shuffled everyone around because Sissy Spacek killed it when she auditioned for the role of Carrie.
Well, she fought for it. Yeah.
A lot of these people are going for Star Wars. They're actually auditioning Star Wars.
William Catt.
So Star Wars auditionings were happening. William Catt was going for Luke Skywalker.
Yeah,
and the palm was in
amazing.
the back, and they were doing things like that. Like these are things I didn't even know until I watched those special features. But I was trying not to let the special features overwhelm my dissection of the movie, if you will. But yeah, no, there's some absolutely horrific shots of her covered in that blood, and yeah, she walks out like in that mesmerized state and gets home, and then the movie caps off that big show-stopping sequence with probably one of my scariest parts, when the mom holding the fucking knife coming at her with that grin, the smile of like, I'm gonna end this now. That is haunting. That is like stuff. I think I caught that one of those images like young, like Friday the 13th I've talked about, and the innocence and whatever, but I think I caught that image at a young age, and it's stuck with me my whole life. And it's just one of those things that I can't get out of my head. So when I see it, I get that chill up the back of my spine.
It's genuinely scary. And it's all the way he shoots it and stuff, and the way they acted it. It's brilliant.
How about her standing behind the door the whole time, waiting for her to fucking take a bath and come out? It's like Crazy Ralph waiting in the fucking closet. How long was she going to stand there and wait? As long as it took. Yeah, I mean, that's fucking scary shit right there, man.
Well, my older daughter was with me, and she came home as the prom sequence was going, and I know she was going to want to talk to me, so I had to pause the movie, talk to her for a bit. I said, now you're staying and you're watching this with me. And she watched it with me. And she didn't even see, sorry, I have the hiccups here. She didn't even see the mom behind the door. I'm like, how can you not see her? Like, it's framed. Like, but she said, no, it's one of those tailoring things. I'm like, no, beside it. It's her. And then the door closed. She's like, oh my gosh, I didn't see it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I think it's so obvious, but yeah, she couldn't see it till the door finally closed and the mom was standing right there.
That's fucking wild, man. Wow.
Did
they show
you guys
on
read
the
the
way
book?
Years ago.
Yeah.
Not too many years ago, like 15.
Because I know they changed the order in the way the kills happened.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, what's his name? Chris and Billy fucking died after she went to and killed her. But she killed her mother with a heart attack in the original. It was not. I don't want to say anticlimactic. It would be anticlimactic on film. But she went in there and she stopped her heart with the power. And then she went out and then she continued to do more damage and fucking... Because she destroyed the whole town in the book. You know what I mean? Gas stations and this and that. And then she came out and then she killed Chris and Billy.
This to me is the better ending.
Yeah, dude, this is the one instance where the movie is better than the book.
Yeah, I genuinely believe that.
And they did the other ending in the other two movies.
Yeah.
And it's overdone. It's overdone. They wanted to be different, but it's overdone. There's another laughable moment, if you will, and possibly not necessary, but it gives me a chuckle, when I want to say Carrie crucifies her mom, but she really doesn't, because again, it gets, although you can't help but think of Jesus.
Yeah.
Because she's like this, and I'm
kind of like doing the Jesus move.
It's Saint Sebastian. It's a callback to Saint Sebastian because of the stabbing.
It's scary.
But the last thing that gets whipped at her does the and it flips through the air and then stabs in. I'm like, well, that was right out of a kung fu movie, sound effect wise, and also it does like the flip, like it couldn't just fly directly in. It's like almost like a icing on the cake stab. Always gives me a little chuckle.
That's why you're just cheering for it though, so it's awesome. It's like, yeah, flip it.
It's so emotional though, with the music and the organs and the way
my favorite scene, the scene that gets me every time is when they're dancing at the prom with the rotating, with the spinning. They're
That
off on a
whole
platform that's spinning one way, and then the camera's spinning the other way. I looked into this. This is all Christian stuff. All these camera shots.
Yeah, they got sick. Everybody fell down after it.
Admittedly, I love all his stuff in the movie, and that was one other quibble is it's all us. I know exactly what he's trying to achieve there. Like, it's shot upwards, so you don't see anybody else. It's just them dancing. But then he goes a little too crazy with the circular camera. I find it goes on a little too long, and I'm just like, if he just trimmed, 4 seconds out of that, 5 seconds out of that, whatever, we got it at that point.
I like it that it goes on like a little bit uncomfortably long to the point where it's like it's almost unnerving.
Yeah, and that's probably what he wanted, to be honest. So that's fine. I'm just saying, that's me. Who am I? But that was the one thing I always thought was. Just a little trimming would have been nice.
I'd love it.
But
maybe a little trimming on the bush.
Yeah. Nice. I'm okay with it going. Well, I think it could be trimmed, but the thing, ordinarily, if it was like another movie and another scene with too much spinning, it would bother me. But I got to tell you, I'm very emotionally invested in that scene to the point where I don't even know how many other movies make me feel that way. That whole scene, when you start to see Carrie get there and slowly come out of her shell, and then have the conversation with Miss Collins, and then back with when she's talking again with Tommy, and by the time they got there and that song they play about someone like me being with someone like you and all that.
Oh my God!
That it's very emotional for me.
Even
though I'm a guy, when I watch the scene, I'm so invested in her character that it does not. But it almost brings a tear to my eye. I think it's one of the most emotional, beautiful fucking scenes in a horror film.
I agree 100% with you. It's so emotional that you actually are hoping that the movie's going to end differently this time.
Holy fuck. You took the words out of my mouth.
No, that's what makes it such a great movie. Every time I'm like, I really hope Carrie makes it this time.
I know. Isn't it something?
You can't say that about a lot of movies.
No,
and that's something. That is something. That's a testament to the film.
It is.
And it wouldn't be a horror movie if ended any other way.
No,
and I'll tell you what, if this movie came out nowadays, back to is it horror? Again, I hate to get on it, but people would be saying that now. This isn't a horror movie till the last fucking 20 minutes. That's what people would be saying if this came out nowadays. It's the same fucking. There's many movies like it.
A heavily argued film.
Oh, sure. And it's dramatic.
If it was this particular film, because they did do the remake, which came out, and I don't think anybody argued it. But again, you're.
Nobody cared about it to argue.
You've got a historical standpoint and everything, but you could be right though. Well, nowadays everybody fucking wants to argue anyway, so.
True, but De Palma himself said it's not horror. So, but directors do that all the time. They
love playing with it. Hitchcock would love to call Psycho a comedy or a black comedy. I don't even think he used black comedy. I think he said it was a dark comedy.
Right. Yeah. But I mean. This fucking movie. It's nearly perfect. It has everything going for it, And there's one quick thing about the soundtrack, which just because we talked about it last week, I wanted to throw in there. And I noticed when I watched the special features this time that Pino freaking intentionally left that part of the soundtrack out when they put it to record. When the girls are working out and they play that other song, meow 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 meow, because he said it fits the film. He goes, but it's too goofy. He says, when you listen to a horror soundtrack or a soundtrack for a movie like this, he said, to have that piece in there is too jarring. He goes, I left the other one in there later when the boys are searching for the tuxes, but I took that one out because he goes, when you sit down and listen to it, it's just too jarring to have it there. And I thought that it was so weird that we just had that discussion last show about listening to a soundtrack. And this guy had the foresight to say, you know what? I don't want to put that in my soundtrack. And so,
but did he have the foreskin?
I don't know. I asked Christian. He's seeing dicks all over the place in this film. I don't know.
Yeah, but the dicks disappear. I mean, as the movie progresses, to be replaced by little subtle nuances of red, a red candle, nothing like what they do nowadays, where a red balloon would. I mean, I'm not talking it, but I think The Omen had it too. And there's a lot of movies that do it but like there's a red candle, and there was there was something else red. My it's late. My mind escapes me, but you'll see subtle nuances of the red motif throughout the film as well, leading up to, of course, Carrie getting red.
Yeah. And how about her mother saying that the dress is red when it was pink? And it was a fuck up. Did you see that in the special features? That it was a fuck up in the script, or was it fucked up in the wardrobe department? That they ended up giving her the dress that was actually pink, and then she says red. I should have known it was going to be red. And Brian De Palma says, "Well, wait, there's a problem here," or something like that. But then Piper Laurie, fucking smart as she was, says, "Yes, but think of it from this perspective. This is what Margaret is seeing. It doesn't matter what color. It could have been green. She was going to look and see red." Because she's fucked up and say, I should have known it was going to be red. That's what a fucking a little thing like that.
Well, they also have her say it's pink, Mama. Like they do have her respond to kind of rebuttal it. So they kept it in the script, but had the rebuttal. It works.
Yeah,
I never even thought twice about it because you think it's just that thought process, like the mom scene, like it's just so everything's skewed.
Yes, precisely.
Like from her hyper religion. And what about that jump scare? The final jump scare got my daughter.
I got her.
It got her.
It's awesome.
And that's why we have Jason popping out of the lake.
It's still scary. Yeah, it's still scary. I mean, I don't jump anymore, but it's definitely frightening still. I lower the music. I lower the music a little.
Well, from a directing standpoint, I love how he slam cuts from the Carrie hand to the mom, like grabbing her out of like her waking from a nightmare, and then the camera, like just the way the camera comes in, it's like you could see that he's drawing the comparisons to it's just so well done with the editing and the camera work there.
That was her real mother. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was her real mother, and she even at one point said, I thought that was her. She looked just like her and sounded like her, but I didn't know that was her.
From Dream Warriors, yeah.
That's her? Okay, well, that makes sense. Well, she says it. They were playing the music at the time, so you can't hear the dialogue completely, but because it's her real mother and because she was bugging out so bad, she said, calm down, Amy, when her character's name is Sue and her real name is Amy Irving. So but she says if you look at my lips, I say calm down, Amy, because I as a mother was so panicked by seeing her fucking reaction. That's amazing, man.
That's brilliant.
Wow. And how about Sissy Spacek insisted on being the fucking arm and the hand that comes out at the end? They could have put a stunt person there or whatever. She said, no, I want it to be me. I'm going to fucking come out. And that's her.
It had to be.
And one more thing. They got that idea from fucking Deliverance, which I still haven't seen, which now I'm definitely going to watch because I'm catching up. And because of what they said, I guess at the end of Deliverance, a hand comes out with a knife in it from the water. Then De Palma saw that and said, I can do that better. So it started with Deliverance, then on to Carrie, then on to Friday the 13th, and so on and so forth. And I never knew anything about Deliverance, so.
I don't remember Deliverance, but again,
I guess something happens at the end of Deliverance with a hand coming out of the water with a knife in it. That's like a jump scare type thing. I don't know. I don't know if it was a jump. Maybe it was just a strange reveal at the end, and De Palma had the foresight to say, okay, let's make it more of a jump.
It's not a jump scare in Deliverance.
Okay.
But it does happen.
But that spawned this, which is awesome.
I love the way the house burns down.
Yeah.
The look of it makes you question whether or not it's actually being sucked into the ground, being sucked into hell. Doesn't it look like it's being pulled into the ground at one point?
Yes, it does.
I love that. I think that's brilliant. It's almost toying with us. Like, is she bringing this house down to end this all, or is Satan himself pulling this house under? Was Margaret right?
Oh, again with that, huh? Yeah, maybe she was right the whole time.
No, that's actually one of the theories I read from a critic, and I found it very interesting. I don't believe that, but I love that they made it look that way, and the fact that they wrote Carrie White burns in hell in the dream sequence on her on the cross. Is she really burning in hell?
Interesting. Wow.
It just adds some.
Yeah.
Extra.
We don't get those answers in Carrie 2: The Rage.
Oh.
I saw that in the movie theaters. I got to see The Rage in the theaters. I didn't get to see the original in theaters because I was -4.
What a shame. Nice. How about what's her name?
Fucking in the drive-ins yet.
I was still living in my dad's ball bag somewhere.
Nice.
In his coin purse.
How about what's her name walking up to the grave? Speaking of that scene, how Amy Irving, which another one, so hot. My God, this girl,
stunning.
Right? Boy, isn't she married to Steven Spielberg?
She was.
Oh, she was.
That was her first husband. She had a child with him.
Okay, well, whatever.
She's been married like 3 times.
Beautiful girl. Her and freaking and Nancy Allen. And by the way, Nancy Allen, you see her now, she looks almost
great.
like she did when I don't know if she married the first guy. Wasn't she with De Palma? I don't even know because I was thinking she was.
She was.
He must be kicking himself for not marrying her then and waking up to her now 40 years later still looking that good because that's an anomaly. Seriously. I mean, that doesn't happen, But anyway, they're both beautiful. But Amy Irving going to that scene at the end to Carrie's grave, do you guys know that was backwards? That it's her, that's why it looks that certain way. She actually started at the front and walked backwards out. And when they're playing it backwards, and if you look in the background, you could see a car traveling backwards. A car driving.
I didn't even know, but that would add to it because it does look so dreamlike just from the filter standpoint. Right. I just assumed it was the filter, but those are the techniques that they use to just fuck with you, and that's great. And I think was it in the special features? Did they talk about that in the special features?
Yeah,
that's where you got it from.
Yeah.
But I didn't notice the car going backwards. Funny enough.
Yeah, they pointed out.
I didn't see the car. I didn't see the car going backwards.
Now I can't not see it. Every time I watch it, I'll see it. Just like that palm tree in fucking Halloween. It's just when someone points something out to you on that made the film, they go, oh yeah, and you could see because of this, and they're like, oh, look at that.
But in this, it's not even a mistake. It doesn't matter because it's a dream anyway.
Well, true. I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter, right? But that filter's great, and they use that filter at the dance when Carrie's happy. Earlier on, it's like that clear. It's almost, I don't even know what you call it, but it's like it's a white type filter. It makes everything like, I don't know. It looks a certain way, but man,
makes everything look like prom night.
Right. It is like prom night.
Prom night used it too. Funny enough.
Yeah.
It just sort of became something that was used over. Like curtains used it. I don't know. You see it a lot.
That's fucking great, man. But that one shot, the whole setup, the first time you see it, they said it took a day to freaking do that shot, and they got mad. This is supposed to be a horror flick, and you're taking a day to do a shot, but it was the stuff in the prom when you go up and you see the bucket of blood the first time sitting there, and then when they announce
phenomenal shot.
Yeah, the continuous freaking thing.
It's a one continuous shot. De Palma loved doing that stuff. He still does it. But I mean,
awesome.
I love when people like think of ways to tell the story and to show it, and melodramatically is fine. It's film, so I love that. I love when that heightened sense, and he's one that I would always look forward. Like Blowout is one of my favorite movies, non-horror. Blowout is one of his. If you haven't seen it and you want to watch a non-horror film, check out Blowout.
That's where he uses a lot of those shots I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, and Nancy Allen and Travolta are both in that. Dennis Franz as
really?
Well.
Yeah.
Keep your tits on. Does he say keep your tits on in Blowout?
I told you not to call me that.
Yeah, these are the good old days when you could just slap a girl around, beat her up a little, and she'd still blow you.
Yeah.
Well, come on. She was pushing it. And the first time he just gave her a light tap, it was nothing. And she just kept pushing the fucking issue, calling him a dumb shit. I'm like, my God, this girl.
Oh, man, but the way she was biting her lip, and oh, my God.
Sexy as fuck. Are you kidding me? And I guess Travolta, that's what the girl was talking. She got slapped twice. She got slapped by Miss Collins, and she goes, she slapped me 29 times, and she didn't want to do it, but when she had to do it, she did it. She goes, Travolta did not want to hit me at all. He was very, very nervous about having to put his hands on me. She was talking about it.
Yeah.
Who can't blame him there? Fuck.
No, but I that sequence, the bucket sequence. I think everything with that sequence has to be done in slow motion. Otherwise, if it wasn't, you would almost feel like Sue would have been able to tell Miss Collins what's going on. Yeah, because it's a long, dragged out, but it's sort of like it's a long enough.
It's perfect. It is perfect.
Where she should be able to say, "Hey, Miss Collins, there's a bucket of blood up there." But it's in slow motion and disorienting.
She's learning it too. Everybody's sort of learning it at the same time. Well, actually,
no, it's just Sue.
Sue's learning it exactly.
But she sees them underneath.
She's not entirely sure what's going on. She's piecing it together. So we're seeing it drawn out into this longer moment, but really, in the time frame that she's piecing it together, she wouldn't have the time. There's music going, there's clapping. She says there's a bucket up there. Like she doesn't know what's going on. So when she's running, the teacher's mistaking it for jealousy or something else, and she says she's got to get her out of there,
like
remove
she's
her
up
from
to
the moment.
something.
Yeah, and I love the little nuances of like they said. Well, we all know that she's right under the bucket. But they're like, how does the audience know? Well, we're going to have a little streamer fall down from the bucket to show that it just hits off of her head. And I'm like, you didn't even need that. But maybe they did. It's just subconsciously they have this little shot in there that just shows that the bucket's directly under her by putting that little scene in.
Still, I'd rather take the bucket of blood than the actual bucket. I mean, it fucking killed Tommy.
Oh, when I saw this as a kid, I never thought that it killed him. I was like, why would a bucket kill him?
I always thought that he just died as a result of the fire after the fact, because he was unconscious. But
it killed him.
Actually,
yeah.
You see them actually start to carry him.
I feel bad because I want to know, do you think Carrie thought that he was behind this?
Isn't that sad that her last thought was probably like, this was all a joke? Because she even says, you were right, Mama, when she gets home, when she's calmed down. So you're actually, I would say yes.
But he was mad. He's like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
So
it wasn't a joke, but I think her last thought before death was, you were right.
That's fucking
terrible.
Tragedy girl indeed, because that's fucking awful. And I think that streamer coming down was showing us as the audience, but I think that's what was going to be what solidified it for Sue, where she was going to really see what that was. Yeah. And I think that she was pointing to the stairs, saying that fucking Chris and Billy are there, but the teacher didn't give a fuck, because you know how it is when you get busted when you're a kid, immediately you're going to blame your accomplices. That's what kids do. And at that moment, she's like, well, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to get you out first, and then let me deal with them. That's how I think that scene works. She's like, yeah, okay, I see him down there. Let's get you the fuck out, and then I'll go back.
Saves her life.
It saved her life in the book. Oh, I'm sorry. Saved Sue's life.
Saved Sue's life, yeah.
True.
Yeah, Miss Collins survived in the book, right?
Yeah, Miss Collins survived in the book, and it's tragic what happens with her here. But that's fucking...
But and she wanted to survive, and De Palma said, no, I've got other things for you, which I love.
No, it's good because she said it in the special feature. She's like, you know what? I at first I didn't get it, but I thought in another movie she would have survived. But in this movie, I'm killing. She respected it afterwards.
Everything about this film is just so tragic.
Yeah, it really is.
And even the end when the mother is on the phone with somebody, when Sue's mother's on the phone with somebody, and she says, yeah, the doctor said Sue's young enough, she'll forget about this. Like,
yeah, get the fuck
out of here. And just obviously her reaction to her dream, you're like, even if you didn't already know that it was bullshit from him saying it, that last image, she's doomed.
She's 16, 17 years old at least.
Yeah.
My daughter is fucking 11, and I'm praying she forgets some of the things that happened to her over the last 3 years, but I don't think she will. She's 11. You can't expect a 17-year-old to forget what happened.
Please, I can't for some reason. I can't remember what I did yesterday, but for some reason I can remember every bad thing that's happened to me from when I was like 5 on. Like, that's just the way it works. That's just printed on your fucking brain. So
yeah, she's not forgetting nothing. No. Yeah. Well, what else we got? What an amazing fucking film, huh?
This time watching the film, I said this to Christian earlier. This experience watching this film was one of my most favorite experiences I've ever had watching a movie.
That's great, dude.
And I could easily say that Carrie's one of my favorite films of all time now. I mean, I would always say it's a great film, one of the best of all time, but I could say it's one of my personal favorites of all time.
Wow, man. That's awesome.
Without a doubt, I love every second of it.
I'm with you. And when we finally do a top 20 all-time horror movies...
Yeah.
I think that might be showing up,
Yeah.
Well, I'm with you guys as well. A full head, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, full head explosion, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Fucking Hall of Fame all the way. It's an incredible film, and
fuck you, Andrew.
I knew it.
Wait, we're not talking about the 2013 one?
But I mean,
I had no problem with the 2013 one. 7 out of 10.
It's a good film. It's a good film.
I was like a 7 out of 10. It was fine. Yeah. 2002 one, 5 out of 10. I give it average, but it's actually probably worse than that. I didn't like the Clearasil cam. I didn't like the the shaky cam was just looked so cheap. It looked like bad after school video production, and the acting. You had decent actors in it. Like, I like the girl who played May and
Angela. Yeah, dude, I'm a mark for her, so I like the film.
But I did not like her portrayal, and I did not like that film. I'm sorry, but who cares? We're talking about the 76 one, and it's perfection with its little even though I've called out 3 things, doesn't matter. Doesn't hinder my enjoyment. It's more like I'm nitpicking at things because you love the movie so much. You're like, yeah, but that it's okay. That's what makes it gives it charm and what makes you appreciate these things as well.
Absolutely.
Yep. Right on. There's like anything technically, the acting, every bit of it. There's nothing negative you could say. I mean, there's not that many movies you can really say that about, especially a horror movie. I mean, you see the great horror movies, but this is a great horror movie because it's a great film first. It's just, great stuff, man. All right, then. We better get the hell out of here, huh? Longer show than we wanted to have, but a good show.
Another great fucking show, everybody.
Yeah,
I just
man.
swear. I think I swore enough tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. What are we doing next show? We're doing those Hammer films. Christian, or pardon, Brandon, you know what they are, don't you?
Twins of Evil? No?
Oh, I thought you knew. You said it earlier, so I thought you actually knew it all. Like, because you said I have all these movies. So, no, that's okay. I just, for once, I wanted to tell the listeners exactly what we were doing.
Shoot,
we haven't done that in a while.
Some Hammer films.
Yeah, we're watching Hammer films. It's going to be the first time for me that I'm watching them, so it should be quite interesting. Yeah, actually, I'll tell you right now what they are. Time to get our hammer on. Whoops. Here's what they are: Twins of Evil.
I said that.
Okay, Twins of Evil, Vampire Circus, and Countess Dracula.
Okay, so I got 2 of them.
So, guys, you did good. Get ready, guys. That's what we're doing next show. It's another Patreon special. Derek B is picking us some hammer. So we're gonna get out. Can't touch this.
Tragedy. When the feeling's coming in.
Yes,
that was good falsetto.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
You should have started the show with that one.
I
Nice.
think my balls just went up a little higher.
If that's possible.
My balls are in my throat.
Ball chinian.
Yeah, my balls are literally on my chin right now. That's,
That's
how high
where
I
he
got
likes
it.
them.
Nuts on your chin, right? All right.
We call that chin nuts.
You have a dick in your mouth. Anyway, let's get the hell out of here. Guys, you got any last words?
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks and good night, everybody.
Yeah, thanks. We love you. See you next time. Peace.